Greetings, Lore Masters. Tonight our chronicle covers the dark pacts and forgotten corners of Tamriel, the places where a fledgling hero can stumble upon power far beyond their station. We follow the Dragonborn, fresh off the cart, blinking in the harsh light of Skyrim, a world that seems determined to kill them at every turn. Dragons blot out the sun, trolls guard rickety bridges, and the common bandit seems to have an unending supply of steel arrows aimed squarely at the knee. The chill of the air is a constant companion, a biting reminder of mortality. Let's be honest, you probably wouldn't survive your first dragon attack without looking like a slightly overcooked sweet roll, let alone save the world. It's a hostile place, and to survive, one needs an edge. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And as we always do, feel free to post your location and local time in the comments below. It's always nice to see where everyone is settling in from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Our story begins not in some grand palace or ancient ruin, but in Markarth, the city of stone. It's an oppressive place, carved into the mountainside, built upon the bones of a Dwemer metropolis. The air is thick with the clang of smelters and the murmur of fearful citizens, trapped between the Silverblood family's iron grip and the ever-present threat of the Forsworn. The Dragonborn, perhaps only just arrived, wanders the streets, feeling the weight of the city's ancient, bloody history. Near the market, a man in the distinct heavy armour of a Vigilant of Stendarr stands arguing with the local populace. His name is Tyrannus, and he senses a great evil emanating from a nearby abandoned house. He's looking for a brave soul to help him investigate. Seeing the Dragonborn, who, at this early stage, might be wearing little more than scavenged iron and a hopeful expression, he decides they are the perfect backup. It's a questionable tactical decision, really. Asking the first heavily armed person you see to help you bust into a haunted house is peak adventuring logic, a plan with absolutely no potential downsides. The Dragonborn, sensing a quest marker and the promise of loot, agrees. The moment the door to the house creaks shut behind them, it slams, and an arcane lock seals them inside. The house is a mess, but the air is what's truly wrong. It's cold, heavy, and filled with a palpable malice. A deep, resonant voice echoes from the very walls, mocking them. Weak. He's weak. You're strong. Kill him. This is no mere haunting, this is an audience. The voice belongs to Molag Bal, the Daedric Prince of Domination, Enslavement, and a myriad of other unpleasantries. His entire sphere is the subjugation of mortal wills, and this house is his shrine. This is a core in-game fact. The quests involving the Daedric princes are often the player's first real brush with the cosmic horrors that exist just beyond the Vale of Nirn. Tyrannus, to his credit, panics. He is a Vigilant, trained to fight Daedra, but he is utterly out of his depth. He draws his weapon, accusing the Dragonborn of leading him into a trap. The voice of Molag Bal laughs, delighted at the chaos. He demands a sacrifice. He demands a display of dominance. He pins the Dragonborn in place and forces them to watch as Tyrannus, consumed by terror, turns hostile. Or perhaps the Dragonborn simply gives in to the voice. Either way, a spiked cage crashes down from the ceiling, trapping the two mortals. Molag Bal demands a victor. Only the one who dominates will be set free. The fight is a grim, clumsy affair in the cramped, dusty room. Tyrannus is not a master warrior, and the Dragonborn is still learning which end of the sword is the pointy one. But a choice must be made. When the Vigilant falls, his body slumping to the floor, Molag Bal is pleased but not satisfied. This was merely an appetizer. The voice directs the Dragonborn deeper into the house, to a dark, corrupted cellar. There, on a blood-stained altar, sits a rusty, unassuming mace. The prince's voice commands the Dragonborn to take it. He has a new task, to find a priest of Boethia, Molag Bal's hated rival, and bring him here. This priest, an orc named Logrolf the Willful, has been desecrating the prince's altar. Molag Bal wants him broken. This sends the Dragonborn on their first true test. Logrolf isn't just sitting in the local inn. He's been captured by the Forsworn, Skyrim's native tribes, who have their own brutal pantheon of gods. The Dragonborn must travel to a Forsworn encampment, often Broken Tower Redoubt or Druidach Redoubt, sprawling multi-layered ruins crawling with briar hearts and hag ravens. For a low-level character, this is a terrifying ordeal. It's a trial by fire, clearing stone ramparts and dark caves, all in service of a voice in their head. The community often discusses this. Why does a vigilant of Stendarr, supposedly trained to resist such influences, fold so completely? Fans often debate whether Tyrannus was simply a coward, or if the power of a Daedric prince, manifested in their own consecrated shrine, is an absolute irresistible force that Stendarr's passive blessing simply cannot counter. It casts a grim shadow on the Vigilant's entire purpose. After cutting a bloody path through the Forsworn, the Dragonborn finds Logrolf, an angry, defiant old orc. He spits curses at them, at the Forsworn, and especially at Molag Bal. He has to be persuaded, either with a pouch of gold or a fist to the face, to return to Markarth. He thinks he's going to reclaim the shrine for his own master, Boethia. The walk back to the city is quiet, the orc's bitter muttering the only sound. He storms into the abandoned house, the Dragonborn in tow, and marches right down to the altar. The trap springs again. The same cage crashes down, and Logrolf finally realizes his predicament. Molag Bal's voice booms, commanding the Dragonborn to use the rusty mace to beat the orc into submission. This is the darkest part of the trial. Logrolf is defiant. He curses the prince, invokes Boethia, and refuses to yield. The Dragonborn has to strike him again and again. The orc falls to his knees, his will cracking. Molag Bal demands he renounce Boethia and pledge his soul to him. Crying, broken, and terrified, Logrolf does so. He pledges his entire being to the Prince of Domination, and in that precise moment of total submission, Molag Bal commands the Dragonborn to kill him. It's a moment of profound, calculated cruelty. This ritual of violation and soul-stealing is Molag Bal's very essence. This isn't just a random act of evil, it's a deeply personal expression of his sphere. An obscure lore tidbit reveals this is how he operates on a cosmic scale. He is the mythological father of all vampires, but not through a simple bite. The ancient texts describe how he visited Nirn and brutally violated a Nedic virgin named Lamebiolfag. He left her for dead, and as she lay dying, she was found by nomads. In her agony, she rose as a twisted, undead creature and murdered them, becoming the first of the pure-blood vampires, the Daughters of Coldharbour. His gifts are never just gifts. They are infections. They are curses wrapped in power. With Logrolf's soul stolen, Molag Bal is finally sated. He commands the Dragonborn to place the rusty mace upon the altar. A dark energy envelops it, the rust flaking away to reveal a wicked, spiky Daedric weapon, the Mace of Molag Bal. The Dragonborn picks it up. It hums with a cold, malevolent power. For a new hero, this weapon is a game-changer. It is a one-handed mace that deals significant damage, but its enchantment is what truly sets it apart. It drains 25 points of magicka and 25 points of stamina with every single hit. This is devastating in the early game. Mages are rendered inert, their spells fizzling. Warriors find themselves unable to perform power attacks, their shields broken. It's not just a weapon, it's a tool of control. It turns every fight from a desperate brawl into a one-sided, debilitating beatdown. And as a final, terrible bonus, if the target dies within 3 seconds of being hit, the mace automatically fills a soul gem. It is a self-sustaining engine of soul theft. The Dragonborn can leave Markarth, level 1 or 2, wielding an artifact that can dominate almost any foe they meet for the next 20 levels. The cost was merely 2 lives and a small, permanent stain on their soul. As they step back out into the cold Markarth air, the mace feels heavy at their side, a constant chilling reminder of the bargains one must strike to survive in Skyrim. The Dragonborn steps out of Markarth, the Mace of Molag Bal a cold, heavy weight on their hip. It's a comfort, yes, but a guilty one. Every time their hand brushes the hilt, they're reminded of the desperate fight in the dark, the cage, and the broken orc priest. Power gained through such direct, brutal domination feels crude. It's effective, certainly, but it's loud. It's messy. The Dragonborn, still very much mortal and very much squishy, begins to realise that not every problem can be solved by walking up to it and hitting it with a spiky mace. Some problems, like dragons, frost trolls, or entire camps of bandits, are best dealt with from very, very far away. They need a ranged option, and the flimsy longbow they looted from a skeleton just isn't cutting it. The arrows wobble, the string groans, and it has all the stopping power of a strongly worded letter. Their travels take them east, across the breadth of Skyrim. They leave the oppressive Stone of the Reach, cross the central plains of Whiterun, and push into the cold, wind-swept volcanic tundra of Eastmarch. This is Stormcloak territory, a land of hardy Nords, bubbling sulphur pits, and a palpable sense of grim determination. Near the border of the rift, nestled in the snowy hills, lies their destination, Fort Amol. Perhaps they heard a rumour in a Windhelm tavern, or perhaps they were just exploring, but they find themselves drawn to the crumbling stone walls. Fort Amol is not a friendly place. It's a core in-game fact that these old Imperial forts, abandoned during the Great War, have become dens for the worst of Skyrim's populace. In this case, it's a coven of rogue mages. This makes the approach complicated. A warrior in heavy plate can simply charge the gate. A thief can wait until night, but a low-level dragonborn with a magic-draining mace and a bow made of brittle wood is in a tough spot. The mages on the battlements don't fight fair. They don't wait for a dramatic speech. They just hurl a terrifying array of firebolts and ice spikes, turning the snowy courtyard into an elemental hellscape. The dragonborn is forced to duck and weave, using the crumbling ruins for cover, feeling the hiss of an ice spike shattering the stone pillar they're hiding behind. It's a desperate tactical crawl. They dispatch one mage with a sneak attack, another by charging them down with the Mace of Molag Bal, hoping to drain their magicka before they can cast a ward. It's ugly, but it works. Eventually they find a set of stairs leading down into the Fort Amol prison. The air immediately changes. It's damp still and smells of mould and misery. The mages down here are fewer, but the sense of dread is thicker. They push through the dark circular corridors, past empty cells and torture racks, until they find a small, unassuming library or storage room. It's cluttered. There are a few ruined books, some loose potions, and a bucket. Yes, a bucket. Or perhaps a small crate, depending on the day. Tucked inside this bucket, sitting under a hanging lantern as if someone just tossed it there while mopping, is a blue-covered book, Spell Tome, Bound Bow. This is one of Skyrim's most wonderful absurdities. No grand chest, no final boss, no magical puzzle, just a bucket. It's the arcane equivalent of finding a cache of military-grade weapons in a dumpster behind a diner. The Dragonborn, probably still singed from a stray firebolt, just plucks it out. They crack the cover, and the knowledge floods into them. This isn't like the Mace of Molag Bal, a physical gift from a dark god. This is knowledge. It feels purer. They have learned something. They've earned this. The Dragonborn finds a quiet corner in the prison. The groans of the fort's magical inhabitants a distant echo. They focus, drawing on their magicka, and cast the spell. The sound is a sharp, ethereal thrum, a chord struck in oblivion. Their hands are filled with a glowing, purple, spectral weapon, the Bound Bow. It's not just a bow, it's a Daedric bow. It has the base damage of an exquisite Daedric bow, one of the best in the game, and it comes with its own quiver of 100 spectral Daedric arrows. For a character who might be level 3 or 4, this is akin to a caveman finding a sniper rifle. The power differential is staggering. It's an adept-level spell, something a mage wouldn't normally be able to cast, let alone buy, until their conjuration skill hit 50. The Dragonborn, by virtue of their reality-defying soul, just skips the entire semester and aces the final. They test it. A mage is patrolling the next hall. The Dragonborn draws the ethereal string. The bow is silent. They aim. They release. The spectral arrow flies with impossible speed and hits the mage with a dull thump. The mage crumples, dead in one shot. The bow hums, and then, after 2 minutes, it dissolves into purple mist, its job done. This changes everything. The Dragonborn is no longer just a brawler. They are an assassin. They are a sniper. They are a master archer who needs no arrows, no smithing perks, and no space in their inventory. The bow is weightless, silent, and overwhelmingly powerful. It also levels both their archery skill and their conjuration skill simultaneously, a perfect feedback loop of power. But what is this weapon they've summoned? This is where the clean feeling of magic gets a little murky. An obscure lore tidbit pieced together from in-game books like The Doors of Oblivion. explains the truth of bound weapons. They are not mere magical constructs, not just hard light. A bound weapon is, in fact, a lesser Daedra, a spirit plucked from its home plane in oblivion, forcibly bound by the caster's will and twisted into the shape of a weapon. The spell is a temporary non-consensual enslavement. The glowing purple form is the Daedra's essence, screaming silently as it is forced to serve as a tool. When the spell's duration ends, the Daedra is not destroyed. It is banished, hurled back to its plane, likely very dizzy and extremely grumpy. This raises so many questions. The fan community often debates why this powerful spell is just sitting in a bucket. Is it a developer oversight? A moment of classic Bethesda jank where they needed to put the item somewhere and a bucket was as good as any? Or is there a deeper, narrative reason? Some theories suggest the mage who owned it was experimenting, perhaps trying to understand the very nature of bound entities. The nearby book, The Doors of Oblivion, supports this. Maybe they were interrupted in a moment of sanitation and killed, the tome falling from their hands into the Pale. A more sinister theory whispers of Hermaeus Mora, the Daedric Prince of Knowledge. The Dragonborn is a new, interesting piece on the board. Perhaps Mora's agents left the book, a simple, deniable breadcrumb to nudge the Dragonborn towards a path of magic, assassination, and reliance on Daedric power. The Dragonborn clears the rest of Fort Amel with contemptuous ease. The mages who were once a terrifying ranged threat are now just targets. A spectral arrow from the shadows, and they fall. No muss, no fuss. The Dragonborn emerges from the fort into the cold East March air, a new, terrible secret in their mind. They carry the Mace of Molag Bal, a tool of overt, soul-stealing domination. And now, they also possess the knowledge to summon a tool of covert, soul-binding domination. They haven't escaped the influence of the Daedra at all. They've just diversified their portfolio. They are no longer just the Prince of Domination's champion. They are a warden, a master, a kidnapper of spirits. The power feels good. It feels earned. But as they walk away, they can't help but wonder. When they release that ethereal string, whose hand is really pulling the bow? The Dragonborn is becoming a force. In the damp, echoing prison of Fort Amol, they proved their newfound mastery. Mages who had, just moments before, been a terrifying, ranged threat were reduced to simple problems solved by a silent purple arrow from the shadows. The bound bow is a weapon of assassination, a tool of overwhelming ethereal power, combined with the Mace of Molag Bal, a crude, brutal instrument for face-to-face domination. The Dragonborn is equipped for both the brawl and the shadows, but both weapons have a certain theatricality. The mace is a Daedric artifact, humming with stolen souls. The bow is a literal beacon of purple light, a glowing announcement that I am casting forbidden magic from this dark corner. They are loud, in their own ways. They are weapons of power, not necessarily of desperation. The Dragonborn, still keenly aware of their own mortality, feels the need for something else, something fast, something quiet, something that works when the magicka has run dry and the stamina bar is empty, and a Draugr Deathlord is screaming in their face. Their wanderings take them south from the plains of Whiterun into the towering ancient forests of Falkreath Hold. The mood here is different. The air is thick, damp, and heavy with the scent of pine needles and decay. The trees are colossal, their branches interlocking so tightly that they blot out the sun, casting the forest floor in a perpetual gloomy twilight. This is a land obsessed with death. The capital, Falkreath, is known primarily for its massive graveyard, a sprawling field of stones that climbs the hill to the Jarl's longhouse. The Nords here are more sombre, more fatalistic. It's a fitting place to contemplate one's own fragility. As the Dragonborn picks their way through this dense, melancholic forest, they hear the faint sound of a river. Following it, they come upon a small, shallow lake, and on its shore, a cave. Moss Mother Cavern. Just outside the cave's mouth is a small, hastily made camp, and leaning against a log, clutching his side, is a man. His name is Valdr. He's breathing in shallow, ragged gasps, a dark stain spreading across his tunic. He sees the Dragonborn and his eyes widen, not with fear, but with a desperate, flagging hope. He explains the situation, his voice tight with pain. He was hunting with his friends, Brod and Niels. They cornered a great bear, wounded it, and tracked it to this cave. But the cave wasn't empty. It was a sacred grove, a home to Spriggans. This is a core in-game fact. Spriggans are the guardians of the wild, ancient feminine spirits of the forest. They are not gentle deer herders. They are vengeful, territorial, and powerful. They can command the forest animals, turning bear and wolf into extensions of their will, and they can heal themselves from wounds that would kill a troll. Valdr and his friends, by wounding a bear and bringing blood and steel into this sacred place, had committed a profound blasphemy. The Spriggans, enraged, turned the cave's animal inhabitants on the hunters. A bear mauled Valdr, but he managed to crawl out. His friends, they weren't so lucky. They're still inside. Valdr is too weak to move, let alone fight. He makes a simple, desperate request. He just needs a healing potion. Just one. The Dragonborn, who by this point is probably clanking like a mobile apothecary, has dozens. They hand one over. Valdr drinks it greedily, the colour returning to his face. The pain recedes, though he's still badly wounded. He's overcome with gratitude, but his relief is overshadowed by his guilt. He can't leave his friends. He needs to know what happened to them. He asks the Dragonborn for one more favour. Go inside, find Brod and Niels, and end the Spriggan threat. He's not a coward. He offers to help, to stay by the entrance with his hunting bow and provide covering fire. The Dragonborn, sensing a righteous enough cause, and let's be honest, the glowing quest marker hovering in their vision agrees. They step into Moss Mother Cavern. The interior is stunningly beautiful, a lush, green and vibrant grotto, lit by a pale, otherworldly light. Waterfalls cascade into clear pools, and oversized fungal-looking trees twist towards the ceiling. It would be peaceful, if not for the immediate hostile snarl of a cave bear, its eyes glowing with an unnatural green energy. The Spriggans have corrupted the entire ecosystem. The Dragonborn is immediately in a fight for their life. This is a surprisingly tough encounter for a low-level character. The bound bow is a godsend, allowing the Dragonborn to pick off the Spriggans from a distance. But the Spriggans are canny. They turn invisible, they heal, and they constantly send waves of charmed bears and wolves to flush the Dragonborn out. The Mace of Molag Bal proves its worth, draining the stamina of the charging bears, stopping their devastating power attacks. All the while, an arrow will occasionally thwip past the Dragonborn's ear from the cave entrance. "Got one!" Valdr will yell, having successfully landed a 10 damage shot on a 300 health bear. It's the thought that counts. The Dragonborn pushes deeper, into the heart of the cavern. They find Brod and Niels. They are dead, their bodies torn apart, a grim testament to the forest's fury. At the cavern's apex, the Dragonborn confronts the Spriggan matron, a powerful, swirling vortex of wood and magical energy. The fight is desperate, but the combination of summoned Daedric weapons and sheer, bloody-minded determination wins the day. The Spriggan shatters into a pile of splinters, and the cave falls silent. The surviving animals, the green glow fading from their eyes, look confused for a moment before padding off into the darkness, their rage gone. The Dragonborn returns to Valdr, who is waiting anxiously at the entrance. They deliver the grim news. Valdr's face falls, but he nods, a bitter acceptance settling over him. He was expecting it. He is heartbroken, but he is also profoundly grateful. The Dragonborn gave him closure, avenged his friends, and cleansed the cave. He has little to offer, but he gives the Dragonborn the only thing he has of value, his dagger. He calls it his lucky dagger. It's the only reason he survived the bear, he says. The Dragonborn takes it. It looks utterly unremarkable. It's a simple steel dagger, the kind a bandit would drop. The hilt is plain, the blade clean but unadorned. Then they see the enchantment. It doesn't glow, it doesn't hum, but the description is chilling. 25% chance of a critical hit. This is not a normal enchantment, not at all. A normal enchantment, even a powerful one, adds a set number of points of damage, burns the target for 10 points, absorbs 15 points of health. This is different. This is a flat statistical alteration of reality. A 25% chance, 1 in 4, that any strike will simply do more, a lot more. On a dagger, the fastest weapon class in the game, this is horrifying, especially if the Dragonborn is using 2 of them. It's a flurry of steel, a brat of rapid-fire strikes, and every few moments a sheeing of a critical hit that chunks away an enemy's health bar. This simple, mundane-looking piece of steel can, with the right perks and a bit of stamina, stunlock a giant. It can shred a dragon priest before he can even raise a ward. What is this luck? An obscure lore tidbit points to the fact that luck was, in fact, a fundamental attribute in previous eras, as real and tangible as strength or intelligence. While the Nords of Skyrim might not think of it in such academic terms, its removal as a game mechanic doesn't mean its removal from the lore. Luck or probability is a force that can be manipulated. Valdr was lucky. He survived an attack that killed his 2 companions. The fan community often debates the dagger's true nature. Is it lucky, or is it just perfect? A popular theory suggests the dagger is not enchanted in the way a mage understands it. There is no soul gem, no arcane formula. It is simply a perfectly forged blade. The critical hit is not a magical explosion. It is the dagger's supernatural ability to find the perfect flaw in any defense. The gap in the armor plates, the weak point in a scale, the tiny gap between shield and breastplate, with a 25% frequency. It is a tool of pure probabilistic murder. The Dragonborn pockets the small blade. It feels heavier than the Mace of Molag Bal. It represents a third, more unsettling kind of power. The mace is domination through a dark god. The bow is power through arcane knowledge and the binding of spirits. The dagger is just a statistical anomaly. It is a quiet, unassuming, reality-breaking weapon, given not by a god or a wizard, but by a sad, grateful, and very lucky hunter. The Dragonborn is now a sniper, a brawler, and a blender. As they leave Falkreath's gloomy woods, they can't help but feel that the world is becoming less a place of gods and monsters, and more a place of exploitable systems, and they are getting very, very good at exploiting them. The Dragonborn is becoming a collector. They have the Mace of Molag Bal, a heavy-handed tool of Daedric domination. They have the knowledge of the Bound Bow, an ethereal weapon of assassination, a bound spirit forced to do their bidding. And they have Valdr's lucky dagger, a small, unassuming blade that warps the very laws of probability, a statistical nightmare for anything that stands in its way. These are weapons of divine pact, arcane mastery, and pure, blind luck. But the Dragonborn is still missing something. Something classic. Something that shines. They have power, but power doesn't pay for mead, smithing supplies, or a nicer set of boots. They are developing a taste not just for survival, but for wealth. And in Skyrim, all conversations about wealth, especially the ill-gotten kind, eventually lead to one place, Riften. They travel southeast to the damp, autumnal forests of the Rift. The city of Riften is a place of perpetual decay, built upon the ruins of a grander city, now sinking slowly into the murky cold waters of Lake Honrich. The very air smells of wet wood, fish guts, and desperation. The city is run, in all but name, by the Blackbriar family, and its underbelly is controlled by the Thieves' Guild. It is a city of con artists, skooma dealers, and corrupt guards. It is, in short, a target-rich environment. The Dragonborn, however, is not interested in the small fish. They're not here to pick pockets or join a shadowy guild. They're here for a rumour about the guild master himself, Mercer Frey. He lives in a large, opulent house in the heart of the city, Riftweald Manor, and it is said to be a fortress. The entire place is locked up tighter than a dwarven vault. This, to a person who has already bartered with a Daedric prince and cleansed a Spriggan grove, sounds less like a warning and more like an invitation. They find the manor. It's exactly as described. The front door is barred. The back door, which opens onto a small wooden patio over the canal, is secured with a master-level lock. A low-level Dragonborn, even one with a growing sense of self-importance, has a better chance of picking their own nose with a battle-axe than opening that lock. The guards patrol, the citizens give the house a wide berth, it's impenetrable. But the Dragonborn is learning to see the world differently. They are learning to see it as a collection of obstacles, and obstacles they're discovering are just suggestions. They stand on the back patio, staring at the impossible lock. They look up. High above the patio is a balcony. The door to the balcony is likely locked too, but it's a different door. This is the key. They follow the line of the balcony to the side, where a small raised drawbridge-like ramp connects it to the house's main structure. The mechanism to lower it is on the balcony, a perfect catch-22, but the Dragonborn has a unique set of skills, namely the ability to jump at things with unreasonable optimism. They back up. They look at the stone wall that forms the side of the patio, then at the wooden housing for the drawbridge mechanism. They climb onto the railing, a precarious, splintery balancing act over the foul-smelling canal. They take a running leap, scrambling up the stonework. Their fingers catch the edge of the wooden mechanism. They pull themselves up. From there, it's a simple, if nerve-wracking, hop onto the balcony itself. They've done it. They've bypassed the master lock, the guards, and the entire city's security system with basic, unglamorous parkour. They don't pay the city guard enough to look up. They approach the balcony door. As predicted, it's locked, but it's an expert lock. Still formidable, but not impossible. The Dragonborn pulls out their lockpicks. Click, snap, click, snap. Minutes pass, a small pile of broken picks forming at their feet. But then, a satisfying thunk. The mechanism gives. The door swings open. The inside of Riftweald Manor is silent and clean, suspiciously clean. This isn't the den of a common thug, it's the home of a connoisseur. Fine rugs, expensive furniture, and a distinct lack of, well, anything. Mercer, in a shocking twist for a thief, is not a trusting man. The house is a trap. The Dragonborn moves cautiously, their hand on Valdr's dagger. They spot the tripwires, the pressure plates on the floor. The entire ground floor is a death trap designed to punish intruders. They bypass it all, moving with a grace they didn't know they possessed. They are not just a brawler, they are becoming a thief. They move upstairs to Mercer's study. It's lavish, but one piece of furniture looks off. A tall, unassuming wardrobe against the back wall. It doesn't quite match. The Dragonborn inspects it, a false back panel. It slides away, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading down. They've found the vault. The air below is cold. The vault is not what they expected. No mountains of gold, no chests overflowing with jewels. Mercer is too smart for that. This is his personal showroom. Plans, trophies, and in the centre of the room, on a gleaming golden display stand, is the prize. It's a sword that looks like it was carved from a glacier. It's a pale, translucent blue, glowing with a soft, cold light. It is, by its design, a glass sword, yet it seems more like ice. The Dragonborn's hand hovers over it. This is Chillrend. They take it. Of course, the display case is trapped. A hiss and a thwip. A poisoned dart shoots from the wall. The Dragonborn flinches, the dart embedding itself in the stone pillar behind them. They let out a breath they didn't know they were holding, and look at the weapon in their hand. Chillrend is special. It is a core in-game fact that Chillrend is a leveled item. This means the sword's power is set at the moment the Dragonborn first enters the area. By breaking in at a low level, say level 10, they are getting a powerful weapon. But it's a mere shadow of the weapon it could be. Had they waited, had they come here at level 46 or higher, the sword they pulled from this case would be one of the single most powerful one-handed weapons in existence. But the Dragonborn is not a patient hero. They want their power now, and even this weaker version is a monster. It hums in their hand, emanating a biting cold. The enchantment is twofold. First, it deals significant frost damage, a bane to the Nords of Skyrim, who are ironically susceptible to cold, and a death sentence to any warrior, as it drains their stamina, leaving them unable to fight back. But the second enchantment is the real prize, a chance to paralyze the target. This is a weapon of absolute control. A single swipe can end a fight before it begins. A charging bandit chief is frozen solid, his warcry dying in his throat. A Draugr scourge, its ancient vocal cords preparing a shout, is stopped cold, collapsing into a stiff, helpless pile. It's faster than the Mace of Molag Bal, more reliable than Valdr's dagger. It's an off switch for any enemy. But what is it? An obscure lore tidbit notes that Chillrend is not a newcomer to Tamriel. It appeared in Cyrodiil during the Oblivion Crisis as a reward for a guild quest. It appeared in Vvardenfell in the hands of another thief. Its design, this unique icy glass, has remained consistent for eras. This suggests it's not just an enchanted glass sword, it is the enchanted glass sword. It's a unique artifact, passed down from one master thief to the next. The Dragonborn, by stealing it, has just inadvertently claimed the title. This naturally leads to a long-standing community debate. Is Chillrend an artifact? It's not Daedric. It wasn't forged by a god. It doesn't have a grand, world-ending origin story. It's just a really, really good sword. Some fans argue that its unique appearance, unique enchantment, and recurring place in history grant it artifact status. Others insist that without a divine origin, it's just a unique item, a tier below true artifacts like the Mace of Molag Bal. The Dragonborn holding the blade doesn't care about the academic distinction. It's a blue glowing sword that turns giants into ice statues. That's good enough for them. They slip back out of the vault, up the secret stairs, and through the trapped house. They balance on the balcony, hop back to the mechanism, and drop down to the patio. They walk out into the damp Riften air, melting into the shadows of the canal district. Mercer Frey won't even know he's been robbed until he decides to admire his collection. The Dragonborn now has a weapon for every occasion. A mace for the stubborn, a bow for the distant, a dagger for the unlucky, and now a sword for the quick. The Dragonborn melts back into the soggy, moss-covered streets of Riften, a new cold weight in their hand. Chillrend. It feels precise. It's a scalpel, a tool of absolute control. Where the Mace of Molag Bal is a vulgar club for bludgeoning and dominating, this icy blue blade is a no button. A charging bandit, mouth open in a war cry? No. A wolf leaping for the throat? No. It's a weapon that simply ends the conversation. But as they travel north, back into the snowy, biting winds of Eastmarch, they find its limitations. They stumble upon a barrow, and a half-dozen Draugr shamble out, their eyes glowing with a cold blue light of their own. The Dragonborn draws Chillrend. The blade shings through the air. The frost enchantment flares, and does almost nothing. The undead, creatures of ice and preserved flesh, barely seem to notice the cold. The paralysis, a gift from the gods against the living, fails to take hold on the dead. The fight's a clumsy, panicked affair, the Dragonborn backpedaling, switching to the mace, wishing they had a simple, reliable can opener. The collection, it seems, is incomplete. They have weapons for the living, for the magical, and for the lucky. They have nothing for the truly stubbornly dead. They need a key for these ancient armoured corpses. Their travels take them to the far eastern edge of the hold, near the border of Morrowind. The land here is desolate, a landscape of volcanic tundra and perpetual snowdrifts. Carved into the side of a lonely mountain, they find a dark, uninviting crypt, Ansilvund. There is no grand archway, no welcoming committee, just a dark hole in the rock, emanating a palpable sense of activity. This isn't a dead, forgotten tomb, it's occupied. As the Dragonborn creeps inside, the air is thick with the smell of death. Yes, but also of the acrid chemical tang of necromancy. And they hear voices, not just the dry rasp of the Draugr, but living, panicked voices, and a single, commanding woman's voice, echoing with magical power. As they descend, the story becomes clear. This tomb hasn't just been re-inhabited, it's been conquered. A core in-game fact of Ansilvund is its tragic, ongoing narrative. A powerful necromancer, Lua Alskaven, has taken over the crypt, enslaving the Draugr within and bringing her own coven of mages. Her purpose is not a simple quest for power. It is a quest of profound, twisted grief. She is trying to resurrect her lover, a Nord warrior named Sage, who died in battle. This entire operation, the enslaved spirits, the reanimated corpses, is a monument to a love beyond death. The Dragonborn is, almost immediately, unwelcome. A disembodied, ghostly voice echoes through the halls. It's one of Lua's lieutenants, Fjol. He warns them, pleads with them, to turn back. This is not their fight. This is a private matter. The Dragonborn, who has already stolen from a Daedric prince and the head of the Thieves' Guild, is not particularly moved by a no. Trespassing sign, even a spectral one. They push forward. The tomb is a nightmare. It's a combined arms engagement. Necromancers stand on high ledges, hurling ice storms, while the Draugr they've raised charge the Dragonborn from the crypts. Chillrend's paralysis works wonders on the living mages, freezing them in place before they can cast. The Mace of Molag Bal is a perfect counter to the Draugr, its stamina-draining properties stopping their powerful charge attacks. It's as if the Dragonborn's previous adventures were all just training for this exact hellish scenario. But then there are the ghosts. As the Dragonborn fights, translucent glowing figures phase through the walls. They are the spectral images of ancient Nord warriors bound by Lua's magic. The Dragonborn swings Chillrend, and the blade passes right through one. Valdr's dagger stabs, and the ghost just flickers, unconcerned. The bound bow's arrows fly, and the spirit barely registers the hit. These are not creatures of flesh and blood. They are echoes, memories of pain given form. Normal weapons, even magical ones, are profoundly ineffective. The Dragonborn is forced to dodge, to weave, to focus on the physical enemies, all while being harassed by these untouchable, screaming phantoms. Eventually, they fight their way to the Ant-Sylvan burial chambers. This is the heart of the ritual. Lua Alskaven is there, standing on a raised platform protected by a shimmering magical barrier. She's enraged, screaming at the Dragonborn for their intrusion, for ruining her work. And then, she plays her final card. She raises her hands, and from a grand sarcophagus a massive Draugr rises. It's Sage, or what's left of him. Flanking him, two more spectral warriors appear, the ghosts of his companions, Fjol and Holgeir. The final battle begins. It is pure chaos. The Dragonborn must fight a powerful Draugr Deathlord, two ethereal warriors, and a master necromancer all at once. They use every trick. They summon a flame Atronak to distract the mages. They use the unrelenting force shout to push the ghosts off the platform. They chug potions, their health bar yo-yoing wildly. Finally, with a desperate lunge, they shatter Lua's ward and silence her. With her death, the magic binding the tomb shatters. The remaining Draugr collapse, the blue light fading from their eyes. The ghosts, they remain, but they are no longer hostile. The spectral forms of Zager, Fjol and Holgeir coalesce. They are no longer screaming. They are grateful. Saig speaks, his voice a weary, ancient echo. He thanks the Dragonborn for freeing them. He explains his love for Lua and how her all-consuming grief had become a prison, binding his soul and the souls of his friends to their decomposing bodies, forcing them to serve her dark magic. As a reward, they offer the Dragonborn the only thing they have left. Their weapons. Not the spectral ones they were carrying, but their real weapons, locked, in a nearby chest now accessible. The Dragonborn opens it. Inside are a few items, but one stands out. It's a sword, but it looks like a trapped portion of the sky. A pale, translucent, ghostly blade. It is the Ghostblade. The Dragonborn picks it up. It weighs almost nothing. The enchantment is subtle, easy to miss. Does 3 points of extra damage that ignores armor? At first glance, this is underwhelming. 3 points? A basic steel sword set on fire does more. Chillrend's paralysis is infinitely more impressive. But the Dragonborn standing in the silence of the crypt understands. They remember the ghosts. They remember the Draugr Deathlord, encased in ancient heavy armor. The keyword is not 3. The keyword is ignores. This isn't 3 points of fire or frost or magic. This is 3 points of pure conceptual damage. It is damage that bypasses the physical. It doesn't care about a breastplate or a dragon's scale or a Draugr's ancient enchanted ebony. It just hits. It's a metaphysical gotcha. Against a heavily armoured warrior, this tiny 3-point bonus is more effective than a 15-point fire enchantment that gets 80% resisted. It is the most reliable, most persistent, most insulting damage in the world. What is this thing? An obscure lore tidbit from in-game books on soul trapping explains that souls, especially those of mortals, are desperate to reach Aetherius, the land of the gods, after death. Those who are prevented either by a dark pact, an unfulfilled oath, or a profound, all-consuming emotion, like Lua's grief, can become trapped. They become ghosts, echoes of their former selves, stuck on Nirn. The Ghostblade is, quite literally, a piece of a trapped warrior's soul, weaponized. The fan community naturally has theories on how this armor-ignoring damage works. The most popular and most poetic theory is that the Ghostblade isn't cutting the target's body at all. It's a ghost. It's attacking their soul. Armor, being a purely physical object, is as effective at stopping it as a steel helmet is at stopping a bad memory. Every swing, regardless of the physical impact, delivers a small, perfect spiritual paper cut directly to the enemy's life force. The Dragonborn sheathes the Ethereal Blade. It makes no sound. They now possess weapons of divine domination, of arcane assassination, of pure probability, and of chilling control. And now they have a weapon of pure metaphysical spite. A blade that proves that no matter how thick the armour, how strong the shield, or how ancient the defence, a sufficiently annoyed ghost can always find a way to hurt you. The Dragonborn stands in the oppressive sudden silence of Ansylvand. The Ghostblade is a cold, weightless non-thing in their grip. It's a weapon of pure spite, a metaphysical solution to the problem of physical defence. It doesn't cut armour, it cuts the soul. With this, the Dragonborn's arsenal has become alarmingly complete. They have the mace for domination, the bow for assassination, the dagger for probability warping, and Chillrend for sheer freezing control. They are a walking armoury of unique, brutal solutions, but all of these solutions, save one, are fundamentally physical. They are tools for hitting, stabbing, and shooting. The Bound Bow is magic, yes, but it just creates another physical, ethereally physical object. The Dragonborn, despite their growing power, is still just a very clever brute. They've encountered magic. They've been on the receiving end of fireballs and ice storms. They've seen what true arcane power can do, and they realise it's a gap in their own capabilities. They have a mace that drains magicka, but they have no real way to project their own. It's time to fix that. The desire for knowledge, or let's be honest, for more impressive ways to make things explode, draws them north. Past Windhelm, past the sulphur pits of Eastmarch, to the absolute frozen, forgotten top of the world, to Winterhold. The journey itself is a punishment. The wind howls, a high-pitched, incessant scream that cuts through the thickest fur. The snow is not a gentle blanket, it's a blinding, horizontal blizzard. The city of Winterhold, when they finally arrive, is a tragic joke. It's not a city. It's a handful of ruined, wind-blasted houses clinging to the edge of a cliff, the frozen spray of the Sea of Ghosts coating everything in a layer of ice. Most of the city collapsed into the sea decades ago during the Great Collapse, an event the local Nords blame, with no small amount of suspicion, on the one structure that remained entirely untouched, the College of Winterhold. The college is an imposing, isolated fortress of stone and magic connected to the mainland by a single, narrow, terrifyingly high stone bridge. The Dragonborn, clutching their cloak, makes the long walk. At the gate, they are met by a high elf mage named Feralda. She's the gatekeeper, and she's not impressed. She doesn't care if the Dragonborn is a Thane, a war hero, or the Jarl's cousin. There is only one currency here: magical aptitude. To enter, the Dragonborn must pass a test. She demands they cast a simple spell, perhaps a firebolt or a healing hands, or most ironically a fear spell. The Dragonborn, who has literally communed with a Daedric prince of fear and domination, might be tempted to laugh, but they play along. They buy the spell tome from her, their mind absorbing the pattern, and cast the simple, clumsy spell. The magical energy feels foreign, unwieldy in their hands, but it works. Feralda nods, satisfied. The gate opens. Inside, the college is a place of profound, quiet power. The Dragonborn is given a tour by Mirabelle Irvine, the Master Wizard, and then introduced to their first class. It's led by Tolfdir, a kindly, aging, and profoundly absent-minded professor. He's the very image of a benign academic. He's thrilled to have a new student and immediately announces a field trip. A core in-game fact of the college questline is this immediate deployment. The apprentices are going to Sarthal, a nearby ancient ruin, for a practical lesson in archaeology and magical preservation. The Dragonborn, along with their new classmates, the ambitious Khajiit Jazago, the quiet Dunmer Brelina, and the conflicted Nord Onmund, trudge back out into the snow. Sarthal is at first exactly as boring as Tolfdir described. It's a dark, frozen hole in the ground, another dusty Nordic crypt. Tolfdir drones on about ethical excavation while the apprentices grumble. He gives the Dragonborn a simple, busywork task: find any artifacts that have been missed. The Dragonborn wanders the chamber, picking up worthless trinkets, until they find a large, ornate amulet hanging on the wall. It's the Sarthal amulet. They pick it up, and the world stops. The amulet flares with light. A cage of ancient spears snaps down from the ceiling, trapping the Dragonborn. The stones of the crypt wall behind the amulet glow, and then a voice, a vision. A spectral robed figure appears, a member of the Psijic Order, an ancient, impossibly powerful monastic order that exists outside of time. He speaks directly to the Dragonborn, ignoring Tolfdir, who is panicking on the other side of the bars. He warns them that they are at the centre of a dangerous unfolding prophecy, that the world is in peril, and that the Eye of Magnus hidden here must not be misused. Then, as quickly as he appeared, he vanishes. The trap retracts. Tolfdir is flabbergasted, having no idea what the Dragonborn just saw, but he realises the wall is now different. The Dragonborn, on a hunch, blasts it with a simple destruction spell. The wall crumbles, revealing a dark hidden passage. The field trip just got interesting. The rest of the tomb is not an academic dig, it's a war zone. The crypt is full of Draugr, roused by the disturbance. The Dragonborn, Tolfdir and the other apprentices are forced to fight their way through, room by room. It's here the Dragonborn's existing arsenal shines. Chillrend freezes the Draugr in their tracks. The Ghostblade, which they just acquired, proves its worth, its spectral blade ignoring the heavy armour of the Draugr scourges. They push deeper, past magical traps that can only be bypassed by wearing the Sarthal amulet, which reveals the correct runes to strike. Finally, they enter a vast circular chamber. In the centre, suspended between two massive carved stone rings, is a colossal, floating glowing orb. It radiates an immense, unstable power. Tolfdir breathes its name, the Eye of Magnus, standing. Before it, his back to them, is a powerful Draugr wight. He turns, his eyes glowing, his name, Jyrik Gauldurson. Jyrik is, to put it mildly, a problem. A purple, shimmering beam of energy is flowing from the eye directly into him. The Dragonborn draws Chillrend and charges. The blade connects and does nothing. A bound arrow hits him and does nothing. The Draugr is completely, utterly invulnerable. He raises his own staff and unleashes a torrent of magical energy. While the Dragonborn desperately dodges, Tolfdir has an academic epiphany. The orb. He's drawing power from the orb. I'll try to disrupt it. The old man begins to hurl his own spells, not at the Draugr, but at the Eye of Magnus. The beam of energy connecting the two wavers sputters and breaks. Jyrik stumbles. He's vulnerable, Tolfdir yells. Strike now. The Dragonborn does. The fight is brief but intense. Jyrik is a powerful sorcerer king, but he is no longer a god. He falls, his ancient body clattering to the stone floor. The chamber is silent save for the ominous deep thrum of the eye. The Dragonborn, as is their habit, immediately loots the corpse. Tucked into Jyrik's robes is his staff. It's an unassuming thing, a simple staff of bone and metal, but the description is what matters. It deals 25 points of magicka damage, and half that to health. At first this seems terrible. 25 points? A simple firebolt does more, but then the Dragonborn uses it. It does not shoot a bolt, it shoots a stream. It's a high-pressure, rapid-fire hose of pure anti-magic energy. It's the arcane equivalent of a machine gun. A typical mage, who might have 150 magicka, is rendered completely powerless in 2 seconds of sustained fire. The 12.5 points of health damage is just a bonus, an insult added to the injury. This staff is not a weapon of destruction, it's a weapon of neutralization. It turns the most terrifying archnecromancer into a very surprised man in a dress, desperately pulling out a flimsy iron dagger. But who was Jyrik? This is an obscure lore tidbit that the college questline never fully explains. The Forbidden Legend quest, triggered by a separate book, reveals all. The wizard Gauldr in the First Era was murdered by his 3 sons, who stole his powerful amulet. Jyrik was one of those sons. He used his piece of the amulet to attack Sarthal, and he was so powerful that the Nords, led by the Archmage Gaiamund, couldn't kill him. They could only imprison him. This entire barrow, this vast magically sealed crypt, was built for the sole purpose of holding one man. This leads to a major fan debate. What was the Eye doing? Was the Eye, an ancient artifact of unknowable power, simply using the long-dead Jyrik as a convenient guardian? Or was it the other way around? A popular theory suggests that Jyrik Gauldurson, a master sorcerer in his own right, wasn't just guarding the Eye, he was studying it, he was draining it. The beam of energy wasn't the Eye empowering him, it was him siphoning the Eye to grant himself immortality. Tolfdir's disruption wasn't a clever tactical move, he just accidentally, clumsily, unplugged the Draugr from his power source. The Dragonborn holds the staff. It feels light. It's a tool of perfect specialized counters. They now have a blade for ghosts and a staff for mages. The world, it seems, is full of problems, and the Dragonborn is systematically acquiring the perfect overpowered key for every single lock. The Dragonborn leaves Sarthal, the air of the crypt still clinging to them. Jyrik Gauldurson staff is a comforting, specialized tool in their pack. They feel for the first time like they're on the inside of the arcane world, not just a brute smashing his way through it. But Jyrik's staff is a scalpel, a tool of counter-magic. It's a no button for enemy mages. It doesn't, however, allow the Dragonborn to project their own power. It's reactive, not creative. The Eye of Magnus, that massive thrumming orb of unstable power, had given them a taste of true, world-bending magic, and now the dusty tomes and simple warding lessons of the college seem quaint. They crave something more, something older, something with a bit more clank. Their search for this older power takes them, as all great quests do, to a book. Perhaps they find it in the college's own library, the Arcanium, or perhaps they pry it from the cold, dead hands of a bandit leader. The book is called The Ethereum Wars. It's a dense, academic, and frankly dry account of a long-lost magical mineral, Ethereum, a glowing blue crystal said to be harder than Dwemer metal, with profound magical properties. The book is written by a Nord explorer named Katria, and it details her lifelong, obsessive quest to find the fabled Ethereum Forge, a place where the Dwemer were said to have harnessed this unearthly material. The book is dismissed by most scholars. It ends abruptly, and Katria herself has vanished, presumed dead, a victim of her own obsession. But her journal, which the Dragonborn finds nearby, tells a more complete story. It gives a location, the Dwemer ruin of Arkenthams. The name itself is a mouthful, a classic example of the Dwemer's apparent love of consonant clusters. The ruin is located far to the south, in the jagged, perilous mountains of the Reach, near Markarth. The Dragonborn, who began their artifact hunting career in that very city, feels a grim sense of returning to where it all began. The journey is treacherous. The entrance to Arkenthams is not a grand gateway. It's a gaping, terrifying chasm in the side of a mountain, a place where the very earth has split in two. They step inside. The air is damp, and the only sound is the roar of an underground river far, far below. The place is a shattered wreck, all atilt, with rickety wooden bridges spanning impossible drops, and almost immediately a ghost appears. She's a Nord, clad in explorer's gear, and she looks annoyed. It's Katria. She warns the Dragonborn away, her voice echoing with spectral weariness. "Turn back," she sighs. "This place is a death trap. You'll just end up a pile of bones like me." She isn't a threat. She's just profoundly skeptical of the Dragonborn's life choices. This is the core in-game fact of the Lost to the Ages quest. It is a long, arduous dungeon crawl chaperoned by a cynical, dead Nord. Katria's ghost appears at various points, offering advice, commenting on the Dragonborn's progress, and expressing genuine, increasing surprise that they haven't been squashed by a rockfall or eaten by a chorus. The ruin is a gauntlet. It's full of the Falmer, the blind, devolved elves who now inhabit these ruins, and their chittering, venomous chorus pets. The Dragonborn is forced to use their entire versatile arsenal. Chillrend's paralysis is a lifesaver against the leaping chorus hunters. The Ghostblade proves its worth against the heavy-armoured Falmer slicing through their chitinous plates. And Jyrik's staff is perfect for neutralising the Falmer mages, the shaman who command the beasts, hosing them down with magicka-draining energy until they are just pathetic blind creatures waving a stick. As they progress, fighting past Dwemer automatons and Falmer hives, the Dragonborn finds more of Katria's journal, and here they learn the obscure lore tidbit that explains why this ruin is so uniquely, spectacularly destroyed. The Ethereum Wars. When the Dwemer of Arkenthams, in a rare alliance with 3 other city-states, Mzulft, Raldbthar, and Betharsel, discovered how to forge Ethereum, it was a breakthrough. The material was revolutionary, and being intelligent, logical beings, they immediately began a bloody decades-long civil war over it. This ruin, Arkenthams, was the site of the first battle. The other city-states, in their greed, laid siege to it. The cataclysmic forces unleashed in that war The tonal architects and smiths turning their full godlike power on each other is what shattered the mountain. This war weakened the entire Dwemer civilization, shattering their unity. It's heavily implied that this internal fragmentation is what led to their desperation, their final, hubristic project, and their simultaneous collective disappearance from the face of Tamriel. The Dragonborn finally clears the ruin, finding the first piece of the Ethereum Forge key, but the quest is far from over. It becomes a grand, epic treasure hunt, sending them across the breadth of Skyrim to find the other pieces, delving into other, equally dangerous Dwemer ruins. After what feels like an eternity of fighting Falmer in the dark, the Dragonborn has all the pieces. They travel to the ruins of Bethalft, where a strange, outdoor Dwemer device stands. They place the shards. The ground trembles and a massive hidden elevator grinds its way to the surface. The Dragonborn steps on and it descends deep, deep into the earth. It opens into the Ethereum Forge. It is a place of staggering beauty, a massive cavernous chamber lit by the glowing blue Ethereum veins. And in the centre, the forge itself, a colossal Dwemer artifice, silent for millennia. Catria's ghost appears, her voice devoid of its usual sarcasm. She's awestruck. "We found it. I found it." This is the culmination of her life's work, the proof that she wasn't the mad, obsessed fool the College of Winterhold claimed she was, but the forge is not, undefended. The Dragonborn approaches and the ancient defences spring to life. Molten metal flows, steam vents hiss, and from a pool of lava, a truly colossal dwarven centurion rises, the Forge Master. The fight is brutal. The Forge Master is slow, but it hits like a mountain, and its steam breath can boil the Dragonborn in their own armour. It's a true test. The Dragonborn summons their bound bow, kiting the beast. They use Chillrend to try and paralyse it, the Mace of Molag Bal to drain its non-existent stamina. Finally they realise it's an automaton. It's all armour. They pull out the Ghostblade. The small ethereal sword shings as it connects, again and again, each tiny, three-point cut bypassing the massive armoured shell and striking directly at the construct's inner workings. It falls. Silence. Catria congratulates the Dragonborn. The forge is theirs to use, but the machinery is ancient. It only has one last activation in it. The Dragonborn can craft one of 3 items. This brings up the great community debate: crown, shield, or staff. The ethereal crown is the power gamer's dream, allowing the wearer to have 2 standing stone powers at once, leading to utterly broken combinations, like the Lover Stone and a Guardian Stone for hyperfast leveling. The ethereal shield is a brawler's tool, a solid shield that, when bashed, turns the target ethereal and harmless for a few seconds. And then, there's the staff. The Dragonborn, still on their quest for arcane might, chooses the staff. It's a beautiful object, a classic intricate Dwemer design, crowned with a piece of glowing raw Ethereum. They take it. Catria smiles, her life's purpose fulfilled. She asks the Dragonborn to tell her story, to clear her name, and then her spirit, finally at peace, fades into the light. The Dragonborn examines their new prize, the Ethereal Staff, its power. For 60 seconds it summons a dwarven spider or a dwarven sphere. At first this seems almost disappointing. A spider. But then they use it. They point it at the ground, and with a clank and a whir of ancient machinery, a dwarven spider automaton appears in a swirl of blue light. It chitters and immediately skitters off to attack a nearby Falmer. They try it again. This time, a dwarven sphere unfolds, a whirling, bladed, heavily armoured guardian that rolls into combat and immediately begins dicing enemies. This is not a simple summon. Atronachs are bound Daedra, creatures of magic. This is technology. It's a summon in a can. And the true beauty, it doesn't count against their normal summon limit. The Dragonborn can now cast a Flame Atronach to hurl fireballs from the back, while simultaneously summoning an ethereal sphere to hold the front line. They've created a buddy system. They are no longer just a warrior or a mage or a thief. They are a manager. They are a one-person army, complete with arcane artillery and a clockwork tank. As they ride the elevator back to the surface, the Dwemer staff feels solid and real in their hand, a perfect, logical, and terrifyingly efficient new tool in their collection. The Dragonborn stands on the precipice, riding the ancient Dwemer lift back to the surface of Skyrim. The Ethereal Staff is a heavy, logical, and deeply satisfying piece of technology in their hand. It represents a new kind of power, not of divine pacts or spectral spite, but of creation. The staff makes a guardian, a clockwork soldier, from nothing but Dwemer schematics and ethereal energy. This new feeling is intoxicating. They look down at their own gear, and for the first time, they feel a sharp, sudden pang of embarrassment. They are a walking contradiction. In one hand, they might be holding Chillrend, a blade of glacial paralytic power. On their back, the Bound Bow, a summoned Daedric weapon. In their pocket, a dagger that warps luck. But what are they wearing? A mismatched set of scavenged iron plate, some studded leather braces they pulled off a bandit, and a helmet that smells suspiciously like the Draugr that wore it last. They are a god-tier weapon swinging from a rusty hinge. They are a glass cannon, in the most literal, unglamorous sense. This has to change. The artifacts are powerful, but they are found power. The Dragonborn now desires crafted power. They want to be a master of their own defense, not just a collector of other people's offenses. The solution is obvious: smithing. The clang of the Skyforge in Whiterun, the hum of the grindstone. But the reality is deflating. They try their hand at it. They buy some iron ingots, heat the forge, and hammer out a lopsided, pathetic iron dagger. The edge is crooked, the hilt is rough. It's a glorified letter opener. They look at the smithing skill in their mind. It has barely moved. To get from this, from person who makes junk, to person who forges armour from the hearts of Daedra and the scales of dragons, would require an industrial-scale operation. It would require thousands of iron daggers, thousands of leather strips, thousands of ingots. The hero of destiny, the Dragonborn, cannot spend the next 6 months of their life mining every iron vein from here to Solstheim. There has to be a better way. Their travels take them back to the Central Plains, to the city of Whiterun. They are not here for the Jarl or the companions. They are following a rumour. A simple, grubby rumour, overheard from a guard complaining about bandits. There's a camp to the north, Halted Stream Camp, that's become a particular nuisance. They've fortified it. But the strangest part? They seem to be mining. Not just mining, but doing something weird with the ore, the guard muttered. Some kind of magic. Magic and iron. The Dragonborn's curiosity is piqued. They set off. The camp is easy to find, a dirty, ramshackle collection of tents and wooden spikes built over a pit. The bandits on watch are overconfident, hurling insults. The Dragonborn, who has by this point cleared Daedric shrines, Dwemer cities, and ancient Nordic tombs, is not impressed. The engagement is not a fight. It is pest control. A bandit chief clad in heavy steel charges with a roar. The Dragonborn draws Chillrend. One shing of the icy blade, and the bandit's roar freezes in his throat. He's paralysed, a stiff, helpless statue, and topples over. A bandit archer draws a bead. The Dragonborn points the Ethereal Staff. A dwarven sphere unfolds itself with a whir clank-clank and rolls toward the archer, its arm blades already spinning. The archer screams. A rogue mage in the back starts to conjure a flame atronak. The Dragonborn pulls out Jyrik Gauldurson's staff. The high-pressure stream of anti-magic energy hits the mage, and his spell gutters and dies. He's left blinking, his magicka bar empty, holding a flimsy dagger. The entire camp is neutralised in under 30 seconds. It is a terrifying display of systematic, specialised deconstruction. The Dragonborn enters the pit, the Halted Stream Mine. It is, just as the rumour suggested, a massive 2-level iron mine. The bandits have turned it into a grim processing plant, with cages, tanning racks, and piles of butchered mammoth tusks. They clear the remaining few, their efficiency now bordering on the mundane. And in the final lowest chamber on the bandit chief's personal table, they find it. It's not a grand artifact, it's not a powerful weapon. It's a simple, leather-bound book. Spell tome, Transmute. They absorb the knowledge. It's a core in-game fact that this is an adept-level spell from the School of Alteration, the same school as mage armor or water breathing, the school of bending reality's rules. The Dragonborn, curious, holds a piece of iron ore they just mined. They cast the spell. Their hand glows with a soft silvery light. The dull, pitted, worthless lump of iron changes. It shimmers, the impurities flaking away, and in their hand now rests a lump of shining, valuable silver ore. The Dragonborn's heart stutters. They cast the spell again. The silver ore shimmers, the light growing warmer, yellower. It reforms, growing heavier. It is now a lump of pure, gleaming, impossibly heavy gold ore. This changes everything. The Dragonborn's mind, now honed by artifact hunting, sees the entire system laid bare. The problem was never the act of smithing, it was the economics. Smithing levels based on the value of the item created. An iron dagger is worth 10 septims, a gold ring is worth 75. And gold rings require no leather, no secondary materials, just gold. The Dragonborn has just found an engine for creating infinite value. They clear the mine of all its iron ore. They go back to Whiterun. They buy every single piece of iron ore from the War Maiden's forge. They go to the Bannered Mare, rent a room and stand in the corner. Cast Transmute. Iron becomes silver. Cast Transmute. Silver becomes gold. Their magicka is empty. They wait for 1 hour, the world fading and returning. Their magicka is full. They repeat. For a single, long, profoundly boring day, the Dragonborn of legend, the hero of Skyrim, stands in a dark corner of a tavern, turning cheap rock into a king's ransom, their hand glowing over and over. The next day, they go to the smelter. They dump hundreds of pounds of gold ore into the heat. They walk to the forge, their pockets overflowing with heavy gleaming gold ingots. They heat the forge, and they begin. They craft a gold ring. Their smithing skill bar jumps. They craft another. It jumps again. Hammer, clank, hiss. Hammer, clank, hiss. For 10 minutes, they are a jewellery factory. When the dust settles, their smithing skill has gone from 15 to 90. They have bypassed the entire iron dagger grind. They are, in a single day, one of the greatest smiths in Skyrim. They can now forge Dragonscale. They can forge Daedric. They can forge anything, but the loop isn't finished. The Dragonborn now has a new, secondary problem. They are carrying 500 gold rings. They go to Dragon's Reach, to the Court Wizard's enchanting table. They have a collection of petty, lesser and common soul gems, filled from the Mace of Molag Bal and from their dungeon crawls. They lay out the rings. They take a soul gem. They apply a simple 2-septim Fortify Sneak enchantment. The ring's value explodes from 75 septims to 500. They do it again, and again. By the time they're finished, their enchanting skill has also rocketed to 90. And the final step. They walk to the Belethor's general goods. They dump 500 enchanted gold rings on the counter. Belethor's eyes widen. The Dragonborn sells them one by one. Their speech skill from this single massive transaction catapults to 100. In one day, the Dragonborn has become a master smith, a master enchanter, and a master merchant. They have also taken every single septim Belethor has, and ever will have. This simple spell, what is it? An obscure lore tidbit from arcane texts suggests that gold, in Tamriel, is not just a metal. It is the crystallized blood of the gods, a remnant of creation, a piece of Aetherius on Nirn. The Dwemer, for all their god-defying science, never truly mastered base transmutation. Their gold was just a shiny, durable alloy. This adept-level spell found on a dead bandit is doing something the entire Dwemer race arguably could not. This leads to a major fan debate. Is it real gold? The School of Alteration changes reality. It doesn't create from nothing. One theory suggests the spell is an exchange. The caster is offering a lump of iron to the fabric of Mundus itself, and receiving a purer metal in return. A more compelling theory is that the spell is not creation, but acceleration. It's a form of magical geological ripening. The spell uses magicka as a catalyst to force the iron through the millions of years of pressure and heat it would take to naturally become silver, and then gold. It is not breaking the rules of reality, merely fast-forwarding them. The Dragonborn stands outside the shop, the setting sun glinting off their newly forged, flawless, jet-black Daedric armour. The suit is terrifying, a perfect demonic-looking shell. They feel for the first time invincible. They have artifacts, they have magic, and now they have industry. They have found the true, most boring and most utterly broken weapon in all of Skyrim, the Transmute spell. The power to turn the world's most common worthless rock into pure infinite power. The Dragonborn stands in the bright sun outside Belethor's shop, encased in a suit of flawless night-black Daedric armour. It is a masterpiece, a shell of pure, demonic-looking intimidation, forged from their own hands. They are, from the outside, the very image of a dark god of war. But on the inside, they are just a person in a very nice, very heavy metal suit. The armour is dumb. It has no magic. It's a pristine canvas awaiting the master's brush. Their adventure with the Transmute spell, a fond memory of a very boring day in a tavern corner, had catapulted their enchanting skill to near mastery. But skill is not the same as supply. To create the god-tier armour they envision, armour that makes dragon's breath feel like a warm breeze, that makes a giant's club feel like a gentle nudge, they need two things in vast, unending quantities: the most powerful enchantments to learn, and an ocean of grand soul gems, filled with the most potent souls. They try the legitimate route. They go to Dragon's Reach to Farengar's Secret Fire. He has two. One empty, one filled with a lesser soul. The Dragonborn, who had spent a day in a tavern corner turning iron into gold, is now deeply personally offended by the concept of store hours and limited stock. This is inefficient. This will not do. The hero of destiny cannot be put on a 48-hour refresh timer. They need a source, an infinite source. Their search for this arcane loophole takes them to the frozen northernmost coast of Skyrim, to the city of Dawnstar. It's a bleak, miserable place, a town of fishermen and miners clinging to the edge of the ice-choked sea. The Jarl's Longhouse is a glorified mead hall, and the entire populace is plagued by nightmares, their dreams stolen by a nearby Daedric cult. It is, in short, the perfect, forgotten, gloomy corner of the world for a bit of light, reality-breaking larceny. The Dragonborn isn't here for the nightmares, or the mines, or the Jarl. They are here for the Khajiit. A core in-game fact is the presence of the Khajiit trade caravans, the nomadic cat people who travel the roads of Skyrim, selling their exotic wares. They are a vital part of the economy, yet they are perpetually treated as outsiders, forbidden from entering the cities proper, forced to camp in the snow outside the gates. One such caravan, led by a Khajiit named Akari, frequently stops just outside Dawnstar. The Dragonborn finds their camp. The tents are pitched, the fire is crackling. Akari greets them with a purr. "May your road lead you to warm sands." The Dragonborn browses her wares. She has a decent selection, a few enchanted items, some lockpicks, skooma, and yes, a handful of soul gems, maybe 3 or 4. The Dragonborn buys them, and Akari is cleaned out. This isn't a solution. This is just the same problem, but furrier. But the Dragonborn is here because of a whisper, a rumour, a glitch in the very fabric of Mundus. They leave Akari at her campfire and walk a few paces away. They walk past the entrance to the Ironbreaker mine, over to a cluster of small, unremarkable rocks and a few sad-looking snowberry bushes, right by the stone wall of the town. They look down. There is nothing there, just snow, just ground. But as they move, their senses, now attuned to the impossible, detect something. The air shimmers, they crouch, and a line of text appears in their vision. Search chest. There is no chest. It is an invisible chest. The Dragonborn, who has bartered with Molag Bal and stolen a glacier from a master thief, doesn't even pause. This is, by a wide margin, the most normal thing they've done all day. They reach their hand into the empty frozen air, and they open a lid, and their soul sings. It is Akari's entire inventory, not just the 4 soul gems she was showing them. It's her entire backing stock. Dozens and dozens of soul gems of every size. Petty, lesser, common, greater, and grand. Empty and filled. There are piles of enchanted weapons, armour and clothing, a veritable library of enchantments for them to learn at the Arcane Enchanter. There are alchemical ingredients, potions, books, and most tellingly her entire liquid gold reserve. It's thousands of septims. The Dragonborn's hands move like a blur. Take, take, take. They take everything. The menu closes. The invisible chest is now, presumably, invisibly empty. The Dragonborn is now carrying 400 pounds of magical supplies. This is a good haul, a great haul, but it is not an infinite haul. This is where the trick, the loop, becomes truly elegant. The Dragonborn, their pockets clinking, walks back over to Akari. She's still warming her paws by the fire, completely unaware that her entire worldly inventory has just been teleported into the Dragonborn's trousers. The Dragonborn initiates trade. "What have you got for sale?" Akari's inventory screen opens, and it is full. Everything is back. The soul gems, the enchanted items, her gold. She has been instantly restocked. The game, in its infinite wisdom, maintains a separate inventory for her person and her chest is the master copy. But the Dragonborn is a master of systems now. They know the spell, they know the ritual, they must complete the loop. They sell Akari one single worthless item, a potion of minor healing, a rusty iron dagger, a single snowberry. The game registers the transaction. Clink. The connection between Akari and her chest is re-established. The Dragonborn closes the trade window. They walk the 5 steps back to the invisible snowy patch of ground. They crouch. Search chest. They open it. It is all back. All the soul gems, all the enchanted items, all the gold they just saw on her person. It has all been duplicated or reset or resummoned from the merchant void. The Dragonborn stands up. They look at Akari. They look at the patch of ground, and they begin. Crouch, open, take all, stand, walk, talk, sell one item, close, walk, crouch, open, take all, over and over. In the span of 20 minutes, under the bleak grey Dawnstar sky, the Dragonborn acquires thousands of filled Grand Soul gems. They acquire one of every single non-unique enchantment in the game. They acquire hundreds of thousands of septims, rendering their hard-earned Transmute loop gold almost quaint by comparison. Akari, bless her fuzzy heart, just stands by the fire, humming, completely unaware that she is the single most generous philanthropist in Skyrim's history, the unwitting fountain of infinite arcane power. What is this chest? This is an obscure lore tidbit that the game mechanics accidentally make manifest. The Khajiit are not allowed in the cities. Their entire business model is based on logistics, on smuggling, and on hidden caches. The invisible chest is the literal, uncamouflaged, unhidden hidden cache. It's where the caravan really keeps its stock, safe from city guards, bandits, and tax collectors. The Dragonborn is not just robbing a merchant, they are accessing the main supply depot. This has led to a long-running fan debate. Is this theft? The game curiously says no. When the Dragonborn takes items from this chest, they are not marked stolen. No bounty is incurred. Akari does not send thugs. The guards do not care. This has led to the popular theory that the chest is not Akari's chest at all, but a world chest, a developer oversight, a piece of game logic left exposed. The more lore-friendly theory is that the Dragonborn is simply so important, so attuned to the world's systems, a prisoner in lore terms, that the rules of ownership simply do not apply to them. They are not stealing, they are reallocating. The Dragonborn leaves Dawnstar, their knees stiff from crouching. They are no longer just a warrior in Daedric plate. They are an arcane god. They walk to the nearest arcane enchanter, perhaps the one in the Jarl's Longhouse, right next to the people having nightmares. They lay out their flawless Daedric armour. They take a filled Grand Soul gem, and another, and another. They apply Fortify Health and Fortify Stamina to the chest, Fortify One-Handed and Fortify Archery to the gauntlets, Muffle and Carry Weight to the boots, Resist Magic and Resist Fire to the shield. By the time they are done, they have a suit of armour that makes them functionally immortal. They have broken the economy. They have broken the crafting system, and now they have broken the very concept of scarcity. The Dragonborn is a fortress. They move through the world encased in a flawless custom-forged suit of Daedric armour, a demonic visage of black plate and glowing red sigils. This armour is not just metal. It is a tapestry of woven enchantments, a symphony of stolen souls. Thanks to the infinite invisible fountain of wealth in Dawnstar, they have imbued it with such profound resistances that a dragon's fire breath feels like a warm, sunny day. Their enchantments are so powerful that their sword arm moves with unnatural speed, their arrows strike with the force of a falling star, and their footsteps are as silent as the grave. They are, in every practical sense, immortal. They are a god, but they are a dark god. They look at their hands encased in black demonic-looking gauntlets. Their power is built on a foundation of theft, loopholes, and dark bargains. Their mace, a tool of brutal domination, was a gift from Molag Bal, the Prince of Enslavement, earned by breaking and murdering a defiant priest. Their armour, the very symbol of their invincibility, is forged in the style of the Daedra of Destruction. Their wealth is not earned, it is exploited, pulled from a glitch in reality, a tear in the world's fabric. They are a systems analyst, a corporate raider of metaphysics. They are not, by any stretch of the imagination, a hero. They are just successful. This realization sits heavy as they stalk the tundra, a walking void in the landscape. They have a tool for every dark, ugly job, and then, at level 12, the world pushes back. Perhaps they are clearing a simple bandit cave, or delving into a barrow for a word of power. They kill the chieftain, or the Draugr overlord, and they go to the final boss-level chest. Inside, among the septims and the useless iron armour, is something different. It's not gold, it's not a weapon, it's a small faceted crystalline orb. It glows with a soft, white light. The Meridia's beacon. The Dragonborn, who has touched ancient staffs and Daedric maces, feels no hesitation. Their gauntleted hand closes around it. The moment their skin, or enchanted gauntlet, makes contact, their head is filled with a new voice. It is not the guttural, seductive, masculine whisper of Molag Bal. This voice is female. It is sharp, it is imperious, it is blindingly, painfully loud. It is the sound of a crystal bell the size of a mountain. A new hand touches the beacon. Listen, hear me and obey. This is Meridia, the Daedric prince of life, energy, and a kind of obsessive, fanatical, intolerant order. She's not good in the mortal sense. She's clean, and she is, at this particular moment, furious. Her sacred beacon, she explains, was stolen, defiled, and cast into some dark, filthy chest. The very chest the Dragonborn just looted. She does not ask, she commands. The Dragonborn will be her instrument. They will take her beacon to her temple, Mount Kilcreath, and restore her light. The Dragonborn, perhaps, intrigued by a new quest marker, or just curious to meet a Daedric prince who doesn't live in a haunted, rusty basement, agrees. The journey takes them to the far northwest, near the City of Solitude. There, carved into the side of a mountain, is her statue, a colossal, angelic figure of a woman, wings spread, clutching a sword, towering over the landscape. At its base is a small altar. The Dragonborn places the beacon. The effect is instantaneous. The beacon flares, a column of pure white light shooting into the sky, and the Dragonborn is lifted. They are trapped in an orb of blinding, incorporeal energy, and they are rising, fast, up, past the statue, past the mountaintop, until they are thousands of feet in the air, a tiny, dark, demonic-looking speck suspended in a bubble of holy light. They can see all of Skyrim, the plains of Whiterun, the Sea of Ghosts, the throat of the world. It is terrifying, and it is beautiful. Meridia's voice is no longer in their head. It is everywhere. It is the sky. It is the wind. "It is time for my light to purify my temple," she booms, the very clouds vibrating with her words. She explains that a necromancer, Malkaran, has defiled her temple, twisting the souls of the dead and spreading a foul darkness. The Dragonborn is to be her champion, her instrument. They will enter her temple, destroy the necromancer, and cleanse the darkness. Before the Dragonborn can negotiate terms, she drops them. They plummet from the sky, a screaming black-armoured comet, only to be caught, jarringly but safely, right back at the temple's entrance. The Dragonborn stumbles, their ears ringing, and steps inside. This is the core in-game fact of Meridia's temple. It is not a dusty crypt. It is a place of stunning, corrupted beauty. It is a cathedral of light and crystal. The main mechanic involves a series of pedestals that must be activated, projecting a beam of Meridia's pure light. The Dragonborn must guide this beam, bouncing it from one crystal to the next, burning away dark, shadowy corruption that blocks the doors. It is a puzzle box, but it is not undefended. The temple is swarming with corrupted shades. These are the souls of Malkaran's victims, twisted into dark, smoky, ethereal figures. They are, for all intents and purposes, ghosts. They are undead. They shriek, phasing through the pillars and attack. The Dragonborn, clad in their dark enchanted plate, draws a weapon. Not the Mace of Molag Bal. This is not its territory. Not Chillrend. These things are immune to its paralysing cold. They draw the Ghostblade. The small, ethereal sword they pulled from the crypt of Anselvund feels perfect. It sings as it cuts the air. The corrupted shades charge, their attacks passing harmlessly through the Daedric plate. The Dragonborn swings. The Ghostblade, a weapon that ignores armour and physicality, cuts directly into the shade's essence. It is the perfect tool, a spiritual scalpel for a spiritual infection. What was once a niche tool for heavily armoured Draugr becomes the primary key for this entire dungeon. The Dragonborn, a black-armoured knight wielding a ghost sword, carves their way through the Temple of Light, a walking contradiction. They solve the puzzles, pushing the beam of light deeper until they reach the final chamber, the temple balcony. Malkoren is there, a shadowy figure in robes, screaming blasphemies. He raises his hands, and the shades of his victims rise to defend him. The Dragonborn cuts them down, they charge Malkoren, and when they strike the final blow, his physical body collapses. But it's not over. His soul, a final powerful corrupted shade, is ripped from his corpse for one last desperate fight. The Ghostblade ends it. Silence. The chamber is flooded with Meridia's light. A pedestal rises from the floor, and resting on it, in a column of pure, divine energy, is a sword. It is golden. The hilt is an intricate, swirling design, and the blade itself seems to glow with an inner warm light. It is Dawnbreaker. The Dragonborn takes it. The enchantment is a perfect, brutal expression of Meridia's will. It deals 10 points of fire damage. Simple. But then, when killing undead, a chance to cause a fiery explosion that turns or destroys nearby undead. This is not a scalpel. This is a holy hand grenade. It is a chain reaction bomb. The Dragonborn, who has been methodically dismantling Draugr barrows, now has a tool that will detonate them. Who is Meridia? An obscure lore tidbit explains she is not a true Daedra, a spirit of Padme chaos. She is one of the Magna G, a star orphan, a spirit of light who fled Mundus with the architect Magnus. She was cast out of Aetherius for consorting with illicit spectra. Her hatred of the undead isn't a moral stance, it's an aesthetic one. The undead are messy, chaotic, and an affront to her sense of pure, ordered living light. She is the Daedric prince of because I said so. This leads to a major fan debate. Is Dawnbreaker good? Everyone agrees it's fun, but good is another matter. The explosion, while spectacular, is chaotic. It has a habit of scattering loot, bones, skulls, swords, and precious gold all over the room, making cleanup a nightmare. The turn undead effect can also be an annoyance, making a high-level Draugr run away in terror, forcing the Dragonborn to chase it down a hallway. And most critically, the holy explosion is indiscriminate. It will, and frequently does, incinerate the Dragonborn's follower, kill their horse, or vaporize their own summoned ethereal sphere. It is a weapon of pure, glorious collateral damage. The Dragonborn is lifted into the sky one last time. Meridia's voice booms her approval. "You are my champion." She drops them, rather unceremoniously, back to the ground. The Dragonborn stands. They are encased in the armour of a demon, yet they clutch a sword of angelic light. They have the Mace of Molag Bal, Prince of Domination, on one hip, and Dawnbreaker, Scourge of the Undead, on the other. They are playing both sides of the Daedric chessboard, and they are winning. Beautifully. The Dragonborn is a walking contradiction, and they are starting to build a collection that reflects their moral flexibility. Encased in the armour of a demon, they carry the sword of an angelic Puritan. On one hip, the Mace of Molag Bal, a tool for stealing souls. On the other, Dawnbreaker, a tool for exploding them. Both are elegant, efficient, one-handed weapons. But the Dragonborn, in their flawless, self-enchanted Daedric plate, is a walking fortress. They are a tank, and a tank, they decide, looks a little silly carrying a scalpel. They need a cannon. They need something that doesn't just end a fight, but invalidates it. Something with weight. Something that makes a statement. Their quest for this new, heavier statement piece takes them south of Riften, into the rocky autumnal hills of the Rift. They are drawn by sounds of a losing battle, the roar of a giant, the splintering of wood, and the panicked shouts of orcs. They find an orc stronghold Lagerspur under siege. A lone giant is hammering at the wooden palisade, and the orcs on the walls are failing. Their arrows are bouncing off its thick hide, and their warriors look thin, their armour pitted. They look to the Dragonborn's discerning eye, weak. The Dragonborn, a black-armoured nightmare, strides onto the scene. The giant turns, its piggy eyes widening at this new, more interesting threat. It raises its massive tree-trunk club, the one that famously sends lesser heroes on a one-way trip to the stratosphere. The club comes down in a devastating arc. Thud. The Dragonborn doesn't move. Their feet don't even slide. The Daedric armour, humming with a half-dozen stolen Grand Souls, absorbs the impact with a dull metallic clang. The giant blinks, its small brain trying to process this. It has just hit a solid wall of pure, unadulterated nope. It raises its club again. The Dragonborn, sighing at the tedium, draws Dawnbreaker. 1, 2, 3 quick, fiery slashes. The giant stumbles and then explodes in a blinding holy flash, its soul incinerated, its loot scattered across the hillside. The orcs on the wall stare, absolutely terrified, not of the giant but of their saviour. The gates creak open. The Dragonborn is met by Atub, the stronghold's shaman. She is grim. The orcs here, she explains, are not a proud, strong tribe. They are cursed. This is the core in-game fact of Lagerspur. It is a tribe in decline, shunned by its own god. The giant's attack was just the latest symptom. The tribe's chieftain, Yamaz, is a weak, paranoid, and deeply unpopular leader. Atub believes their only hope is to commune with Malakath, the Daedric prince of the spurned, the patron god of the Awesomer. The ritual requires 2 key ingredients, troll fat and a Daedra heart. The Dragonborn, who has been methodically looting, transmuting, and enchanting their way to godhood, simply has these in their pocket. Oh, you mean these? They probably gesture, pulling a still-beating heart and a lump of rancid fat from their pack. I was using them as paperweights. Atub, taken aback by this level of preparedness, performs the ritual. She throws the items into the fire and a noxious green smoke rises. She calls to Malakath. At first, nothing. Then, the fire sputters and a voice booms out. It is not the seductive, oily voice of Molag Bal. It is not the ear-splitting, crystal-clear command of Meridia. This voice is guttural. It is furious. It sounds like a disappointed, abusive father who's just seen a bad report card. You weak, pitiful, Malakath's voice roars from the very air. Yamaz, you are a stain, a pustule. You let my tribe fester. You are weak. Malakath is, to put it mildly, unhappy with the management. He lays down an ultimatum. Yamaz, to prove his strength, must travel to the Giants' Grove, Fallowstone Cave, kill the leader of the Giants, and bring back his war club as an offering. Yamaz, pale and trembling, agrees, and then Malakath adds the final humiliating twist. And you, Outlander, his voice directs at the Dragonborn, you will go with him. You will be his minder. See that my will is done. The humiliation is absolute. Yamaz the chieftain has just been assigned a babysitter. In his own stronghold, in front of his entire tribe, he is seething. He stalks to the gate, spitting at the Dragonborn to follow. The journey is a long, awkward, silent trek. Yamaz tries to maintain a shred of dignity, ordering the Dragonborn around. Move faster, Outlander. The Dragonborn, in their god-tier armour, just clanks along patiently, the demonic helmet tilted in what might be amusement. They arrive at Fallowstone Cave. It is a cave, full of giants. Yamaz, his bravado completely gone, immediately turns to the Dragonborn. Look, this is foolish. I'll pay you. A lot of gold. You go in, you kill the giant leader, you bring me the club, I'll tell Malakath I did it. Everyone wins. The Dragonborn, who at this point is forging gold rings out of iron and robbing invisible merchant chests blind, is not impressed by the offer, but the logic is sound. They agree. The cave is not a dungeon. It's a shooting gallery. The Dragonborn is a walking death machine. The giants, one by one, raise their clubs. The Dragonborn's armour tanks the blows. Dawnbreaker, or the Mace of Molag Bal, or even Valdr's lucky dagger, makes short, brutal work of them. It is a one-sided slaughter. They reach the heart of the grove, a massive open-air arena. A truly colossal giant, the leader, is waiting. Yamaz, who's been cowering at the tunnel entrance, runs up. Okay, new plan, he pants, his eyes wide with terror. I'll pay you double. Just kill him, please. I can't. The Dragonborn looks at the giant, looks at Yamaz, and makes a decision. They sheath their weapon. They lean against a rock. He's all yours, Chief. Yamaz is stunned. What? You scum. His pride, his rage, and his terror combine into one fatal surge of stupidity. He draws his own orcish axe. Fine, I will do this. I will show you. I will show Malakath. He screams a war cry and charges the giant leader. The giant turns. It raises its club. Hump. Yamaz is gone. He is not dead. He is a small, armour-clad projectile launched at supersonic speed into the cave's ceiling. A moment later, a wet, final splat echoes through the cavern. The Dragonborn sighs. The giant turns, confused. The Dragonborn draws their weapon and with a single anticlimactic blow executes the beast. They pick up its massive, crude club and begin the long, quiet walk back to Largashbur. Atub is waiting, her face a mask of grim acceptance. Yamaz, he did not return, did he? The Dragonborn just drops the giant's club at her feet. She nods. Malakath's will is done. She calls the surviving orcs to the altar. They place the club. Malakath, we have done as you asked. The voice booms again, this time with a note of satisfaction. Yamaz was a stain, and he has been scoured. The tribe is weak, but perhaps it can be strong again. The giant's club on the altar shimmers, smokes and melts, and in its place, a new object forms. A colossal two-handed warhammer of dark metal, its design clearly Dwemer, yet humming with a dark Daedric power. Take it, Outlander, Malakath commands. It is Volendrung. Let it serve as a lesson. The Dragonborn hefts the hammer. It is heavy, and its enchantment is a thing of simple, brutal genius. Absorbs 50 points of stamina. This is not just an enchantment, it is a solution. A warhammer is the slowest, most stamina-intensive weapon in the game. A power attack with it can drain a lesser warrior's entire stamina bar. This hammer refills it. With every swing, it drains the enemy's stamina and gives it to the Dragonborn. This makes it a perpetual motion machine of violence. The Dragonborn can power attack and power attack and power attack in an infinite, unstoppable, bone-shattering loop. But what is this hammer? An obscure lore tidbit reveals Volendrung is not, and never was, a Malakath artifact. It was the ancestral weapon of the Dwemer Rorken clan. Centuries ago, the Rorken clan had a dispute with the other Dwemer, and their chief, in a fit of pique, threw this very hammer across the continent, vowing his people would settle wherever it landed. It landed in Hammerfell. The hammer is Hammerfell. It disappeared, like all Dwemer things. And now, Malakath has it. He has appropriated the lost artifact of one spurned outcast race and given it to his champion. It's the most Malakath thing imaginable. This all ties into the central fan debate surrounding Malakath. Is he literally Trinamach's poop? The official, in-universe Old Merry story is that the hero god Trinamach tried to stop the Chimera from their exodus. The Daedric prince Boethia ate Trinamach and then excreted him. This excrement, this divine waste product, became Malakath. The Orsimer, the pariah folk, are thus the followers of the pariah god. Fans endlessly debate whether this is literal or allegory, but given the brutal, angry and deeply scatological nature of the prince, literal has always seemed distressingly plausible. The Dragonborn leaves Largashbur, Volendrung resting on their shoulder. They now have a mace from a sadist, a sword from a fanatic, and a hammer from a very angry outcast who stole it from a dead race of elves. Their collection is no longer light or dark, it's just messy and very, very effective. The Dragonborn is an engine of destruction. Volendrung rests on their Daedric armoured shoulder, not so much a weapon as an industrial tool. It is a perpetual motion machine of violence, a hammer that feeds on the stamina of its victims, allowing for an endless, bone-shattering cascade of power attacks. They have a mace for domination, a sword for paralysis, another for holy explosions, and a third for bypassing armour entirely. They have a staff for mages, a staff for creating clockwork tanks, and a bow for killing from the shadows. Their arsenal is a perfect, logical, and terrifyingly complete answer to every physical and magical threat Skyrim has to offer. They are a master of systems, a walking equation of damage, resistance, and efficiency. But Skyrim, they are beginning to learn, is not always a logical place. It is a land of ancient, unknowable magic, where glitches in reality create invisible chests, and where the gods themselves are petty, angry, and demanding. The Dragonborn, for all their power, has no answer for the purely, fundamentally absurd. They need a tool that doesn't solve a problem but scrambles it. Their quest for this new, illogical solution takes them to Solitude. It is the very picture of Imperial Order. The capital of Skyrim, the Jewel of the North, it is a city built on a magnificent stone arch, its high, clean towers a testament to law, civilization, and the Legion. It is the least chaotic place in the entire hold. The Dragonborn, a walking, demonic-looking god of war, clanks through the polished streets, drawing stares of pure, unadulterated terror from the well-dressed citizens. In the market near the Bard's College, they find a small, ignorable crack in this facade of order. A beggar, a man with a wild beard and frantic eyes named Dervanin. He's not asking for coin, he's asking for help. "You've got to help me," he hisses, grabbing the Dragonborn's Daedric gauntlet. "My master, he's gone on vacation." He explains that his master, a good, kind man, has locked himself away in the old forbidden Pelagius wing of the Blue Palace, and he needs to be brought back for tea. The whole city thinks the wing is just haunted. Dervanin knows the truth. He presses a small, strangely heavy object into the Dragonborn's hand. "This is the key. It's Pelagius's hip bone." The Dragonborn looks at the hip bone. They have dealt with Daedric princes, ancient ghosts, and Dwemer automatons. A haunted palace wing and a skeletal key is, at this point, just a Tuesday. They clank their way up to the Blue Palace. Jarl Elisif the Fair, the very image of imperial grace, is holding court. The Dragonborn, in their full, terrifying regalia, approaches. The conversation is, to put it mildly, surreal. "Pardon me, Jarl, while I'm dressed as a demon. I'd like to go into your haunted, locked-down wing. I have a man's hip bone for a key." The court wizard, Sibyl Stentor, is deeply suspicious, but the steward, Falk Firebeard, is weary. They've had nothing but trouble from that wing. He gives the Dragonborn the key, as long as you promise to be quiet and, not disturb the ghosts. The Dragonborn enters the Pelagius wing. It's exactly as advertised. Thick with dust, covered in cobwebs, the furniture draped in rotting white sheets. It's an eerie, silent, forgotten place. They walk down a long, dark hallway. The air begins to feel strange, stretchy. The walls begin to shimmer, the colours twisting. The sound of their own footsteps becomes distorted, as if they are walking through water. The hallway in front of them dissolves into a swirl of purple and green, and with a final lurching whoosh, the Dragonborn is gone. They stumble, their vision clearing, and find themselves no longer in a dusty hallway. They are in a small, dreamlike forest clearing, under a strange purple sky. In the centre is a long, lavishly set dining table. At one end sits a man in formal ancient royal attire, his head lolling, very clearly dead. At the other end, sipping tea from a delicate cup, is a man in a garish, half-purple, half-green suit, with a matching hat. He looks up. "You're late," he chirps. "I was worried. I thought you'd been eaten, or worse, bored." This is Sheogorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness, Lord of the Shivering Isles, and the Master Dervanin was looking for. The core Ingi fact is this absurd, wonderful tea party. Sheogorath explains that he's on vacation in the mind of Emperor Pelagius III, Pelagius the Mad. And he is, quite frankly, bored. Pelagius is no fun anymore, he's just mad. Sheogorath wants to leave, but he can't. Not until his host's mind is a little more interesting. He makes the Dragonborn a deal. "You fix his mind," he says, "and I'll give you a present." He gestures, and a staff appears in the Dragonborn's hand. It's a bizarre, three-headed, twisting piece of metal. "The Wabbajack," Sheogorath proclaims. "My own staff. Don't break it. Or do. I don't care." He then explains the task. The Dragonborn must cure Pelagius's mind by travelling through 3 gates to his subconscious. They must defeat his paranoia, his anger, and his night terrors. The Dragonborn, hip deep in a Daedric prince's holiday fever dream, just shrugs and gets to work. The trials are not battles, they are symbolic absurdist plays. To cure the night terrors, they find Pelagius asleep in a bed. A monster, perhaps a spectral wolf, appears. The Dragonborn on a hunch shoots Pelagius with the Wabbajack. He wakes up, now holding a torch, which he uses to scare the wolf away. To cure his anger, they find a tiny cowering confidence being beaten on by a massive hulking anger. The Dragonborn shoots anger with the Wabbajack. It shrinks, becoming tiny and petulant. They shoot confidence. He grows, becoming a broad-shouldered hero. Finally, to cure his paranoia, they enter a strange arena where 2 Storm Atronachs are fighting. Pelagius is in the stands, convinced they are all plotting against him. Sheogorath whispers the solution. You have to shoot the audience, silly. They're the ones he's worried about. The Dragonborn turns the Wabbajack on the spectral, snooty nobles watching the fight, and they transform into wolves who then attack the Atronachs. It makes no sense, and that is entirely the point. The Dragonborn returns to the tea party. Sheogorath is ecstatic. You've done it. He's fixed, or broken in a new, exciting way. Marvellous! He claps his hands. Well, vacation's over. Time to go. The butterflies, you know. They miss me. He bids the Dragonborn a fond farewell. Oh, and you can keep the staff. You've earned it. Now, shoo. With another violent, lurching whoosh, the Dragonborn is back in the dusty, silent Pelagius wing. The hip bone is gone, the air is still. But clutched in their hand is the staff, the Wabbajack. They leave the palace, the guards none the wiser, and find the first living thing they can. A bandit on the road. They aim the staff. They fire. A bolt of something, a swirl of purple, chaotic energy, flies out. It hits the bandit. The bandit transforms into a perfectly normal, non-aggressive, very confused chicken. Cluck. The Dragonborn blinks. They find another bandit. They fire. The bandit is suddenly, violently, healed to full health. They fire again. The bandit is struck by a bolt of chain lightning. They fire a 3rd time. The bandit explodes and is replaced by a shower of sweet rolls and a pile of gold. This is the Wabbajack. Its power is to not have a power. It is a staff of random. It can turn a dragon into a Daedroth. It can turn a giant into a small, harmless mud crab. It can turn a Draugr Deathlord into a wheel of cheese. It is a tool that introduces pure, unadulterated chaos into any situation. But what is this madness? An obscure lore tidbit, one of the most profound in the entire series, reveals the origin of Sheogorath himself. He is not a true, original Daedric prince. He is a curse. Long ago, the Daedric prince of pure, logical, crystalline order, Jyrik, was so powerful and so logical that his realm was expanding and consuming all of oblivion. The other Daedric princes, in a rare moment of unity and terror, cursed him. They transformed him into his perfect polar opposite, Sheogorath, the Prince of Madness. At the end of every era, the curse breaks. Sheogorath becomes Jyrik again, in an event called the Grey March. He methodically, logically, and perfectly destroys his own realm of madness, setting his house in order. And then, once his logic is sated, the curse reasserts itself, and he is forced to become the gibbering, cheese-obsessed madman once more. It is an endless, logical loop of chaos, the most brilliant and cruel prison ever conceived. The fan community has long debated what the Wabbajack is actually doing. Is it a transmutation spell? A powerful illusion? The most popular and disturbing theory is that the Wabbajack example does not change the target. It replaces them. It is a staff that weaponizes the multiverse. When the Dragonborn shoots a bandit and turns them into a chicken, they have not transformed the bandit. They have reached into an alternate timeline, plucked a chicken from existence, and swapped it with the bandit, who is now, presumably, living a very confusing new life as a chicken, in a reality where he was the one who got shot by the Wabbajack. The Dragonborn, clad in the armour of a demon, holding the hammer of an outcast, the mace of a tyrant and the sword of a fanatic, now adds the staff of a mad god to their collection. They are no longer just a warrior or a smith or an enchanter. They are a one-person circus, a master of the absurd. They have an answer for logic and now a glorious chaotic answer for when logic fails. The Dragonborn is becoming a specialist in the absurd. They clank out of the Blue Palace in solitude, the Wabbajack a strange, humming, three-headed question mark strapped to their back. It is a staff of pure, unadulterated chaos, a tool that answers the question what if by turning a dragon into a sweet roll. But it is, for all its power, unreliable. It's a cosmic prank in a can. It's a gamble. It is not, as the Dragonborn has come to appreciate, efficient. The Ethereal Staff is logical, creating a clockwork tank, but it's impersonal. It's a piece of technology. The Dragonborn, now a godlike being in their custom-forged armour, feels the need for a solution that is both reliable and chaotic. They don't just want a maybe button, they want an oh hell yes button. They want a panic button that summons, for example, an angry demon. This desire, this new vacancy in their collection, coincides with their travels. At level 14, having mastered smithing, enchanting, and the art of divine-level bartering, the Dragonborn decides to take a break. They are, after all, still mortal, mostly. They crave a simple, honest pleasure, a tankard of mead in a warm, smoky inn. They push open the door to the first tavern they find, perhaps the Bannered Mare in Whiterun, or the Villamere Inn in Iverstead. It doesn't matter. The moment they cross the threshold, he is there. A man in fine, dark robes, a jovial smile on his face, nursing a tankard at the bar. He sees the Dragonborn, this black-armoured, demonic-looking god of war, and his smile only widens. "You look like someone who knows how to have a good time," he says, his voice smooth as honeyed mead. This is Sam Gaven. He introduces himself as a fellow traveller, a connoisseur of fine drinks. He makes the Dragonborn a proposition, a simple, friendly wager, a drinking contest. "Let's see who can stand the longest," he challenges. "My staff against, well, just your company." The Dragonborn, who has stared down the Prince of Domination and survived a tea party with the Prince of Madness, looks at this simple, smiling man. A drinking contest. This is the easiest quest they have ever been offered. They sit. "I'm in." Sam slides over the first tankard. It's strong. "To you, my friend," he toasts. The Dragonborn drinks. The world goes a little hazy at the edges. Sam slides over a second. "And to Skyrim. May she always be interesting." The Dragonborn drinks. The lute music in the tavern seems to be vibrating in their skull. Sam laughs, a deep full-bodied sound. He slides over a third. One more for the road. The Dragonborn, their Daedric helmet no doubt tilted at a very unwise angle, slams the third tankard. The world goes black. The Dragonborn wakes up to the smell of incense and old stone. Their head is pounding, a rhythmic sledgehammer-like assault, as if Volendrung itself was being used to reforge their brain. They open their eyes. They are not in a tavern. They are on a cold, stone floor. A woman in the robes of a priestess is standing over them, and her face is a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. "Get up," she hisses. "Look at this mess! By the Lady de Bella, what is this?" The Dragonborn stumbles to their feet. They are in the Temple of Dibella, in Markarth, a city on the complete opposite side of the continent. The temple, a sacred place of beauty, is trashed. There are empty wine bottles everywhere, a giant's toe just sitting there on a pedestal, and a hagraven feather. The Dragonborn, their mind a complete aching void, has no answers. This is the core in-game fact of the quest, a night to remember. It is a grand, chaotic, continent-spanning detective story, where the Dragonborn is the detective, the victim, and the culprit all at once. The priestess Senna demands they clean up their mess, which involves picking up the trash, and then tells them they were muttering about Rorikstead when they were found. Head-pounding, the Dragonborn travels to the small, humble farming village of Rorikstead. They are immediately confronted by an angry farmer named Ennis. "You!" he shouts. "You did it, didn't you? You stole my prize-winning goat, Gleeder, and sold her to a giant." The Dragonborn, a being who has slaughtered giants and taken a hammer from their god, is now accused of being a drunken goat rustler for their mortal enemies. This is without a doubt a new personal low. They have to fix this. They travel into the hills, find the giant whose name is Grok, and he's not hostile. He's just a lonely giant who wanted a goat. The Dragonborn, through persuasion, or perhaps just by stealing the goat back while the giant is distracted, retrieves Gleader. Ennis, only slightly mollified, gives them the next clue. You kept talking about a wedding ring and Isolde in Whiterun. Back to Whiterun. Back to where it all began. They find Isolde, the aspiring merchant. She, unlike everyone else, is delighted to see them. "You're back, did you get the ring?" she asks eagerly. The Dragonborn, their head still pulsing, has no idea what she's talking about. Isolde's face falls. "Oh, you bought a wedding ring from me, on credit. 2,000 septims. You said you were going to marry your fiancé." The Dragonborn's blood runs cold. "Who?" "A hagraven," Isolde says, as if it's the most normal thing in the world. "From Witchmist Grove. You said it was the most beautiful love story for the ages." The Dragonborn, clad in demon plate, wielder of artifacts, slayer of mages, got blackout drunk and proposed to a bird witch. Isolde, ever the pragmatist, offers a deal. She doesn't care about the 2,000 septims, she just wants the ring back. It was a good ring. So, the Dragonborn, on a walk of shame that spans an entire province, travels to the foul, swampy Witchmist Grove. They find the hagraven, Esmeralda, and she is waiting for them. "My love, you've returned," she caws. "This is complicated." The Dragonborn, using all the diplomatic skill they possess, has to break off the engagement. This naturally enrages the hagraven's sister, Moira, who attacks. The Dragonborn, their patience at an end, incinerates her with a blast of Dawnbreaker. Esmeralda, heartbroken but understanding, we just wanted different things, gives them the ring back. The final clue, the wedding was to be at Morvunska. Morvunska is not a wedding chapel. It's a ruined fort crawling with hostile mages. The Dragonborn, their headache now a physical manifestation of pure rage, gives up on diplomacy. They storm the fort. Volendrung becomes a black and silver blur. The Ethereal Staff summons a sphere that rolls through the courtyard like a clockwork harbinger of death. The mages, who were just presumably having a normal day, are systematically and efficiently erased. In the heart of the ruin, there is no altar. There is only a swirling purple portal. The Dragonborn, with a heavy sigh, steps through. They are no longer in Skyrim. They're in a misty, ethereal grove. It's a party. Strange, beautiful Daedra are lounging on velvet cushions. Dremora, in their spiked black armour, are drinking from flagons, and on a small, simple throne is Sam Gwyven. He stands as the Dragonborn approaches, and he changes. His simple robes are replaced by a glorious, decadent outfit of crimson and gold. This is not Sam. This is Sanguine, the Daedric prince of debauchery, hedonism and revelry. "Marvellous!" he booms, laughing. "I haven't had a night like that in an era. That hagraven, what a firebrand!" He explains that this was all a test, a game. He saw the Dragonborn so wrapped up in destiny, power and efficiency, and decided they needed a vacation, a reminder of the joys of chaos, impulse and living without a questlog. The Dragonborn was his companion on a cosmic bender, and as promised, he has a reward. He hands them the staff, the Sanguine Rose. It is a staff in the shape of a blooming rose, its petals a dark Venus red. The Dragonborn takes it. Its power summons a Dremora Kinval for 60 seconds. The Dragonborn tests it. They point it at the ground. With a flash of red light and a sound of a roar, a Dremora appears, a 7-foot-tall, heavily armoured, great sword-wielding, fire magic-using demon from the pits of oblivion. "I honour my master's call!" it bellows, and immediately looks for something to kill. This is the panic button. This is the instant bodyguard. This is the ultimate party favour. An obscure lore tidbit reveals the true nature of this summon. A Dremora Kinval is not a mindless beast. The Dremora are a highly intelligent, clan-based race with a rigid, feudal hierarchy. A Kinval is a knight. Sanguine hasn't just given the Dragonborn a spell. He's given them a direct line to one of his own demonic knights, who is honour-bound to show up and defend the drunk his prince met in a bar. The fan community has long debated what really happened during that blackout. The breadcrumb trail of clues suggests a simple, drunken mistake. But the most popular theory is that the Dragonborn never left Sanguine's side. They were, for one night, co-princes of debauchery. They didn't trash the Temple of Dibella. They blessed it with a wild, hedonistic party. They didn't just sell a goat to a giant. They were acting as diplomats in an absurd drunken trade. They didn't propose to a hagraven, they were officiating her wedding to someone else. The clues are just the sober, mortal world's baffled, hungover misinterpretation of a single, glorious, divine night of chaos. Sanguine teleports the Dragonborn back to the exact tavern where it all began. The patrons blink, confused, as a person in demon armour materialises from thin air. The Dragonborn holds the rose. They now have an answer to every problem. A hammer for the strong, a mace for the weak, a staff for the absurd, and now a staff for when they are, quite simply, too busy to handle the fight themselves. The Dragonborn is, by any objective measure, a demigod. Their collection of artefacts is no longer just an arsenal. It's a philosophical statement. They have an answer for every conceivable form of conflict. They have the brute force efficiency of Volendrung, the cold control of Chillrend, the righteous, chaotic fury of Dawnbreaker, the intellectual counter-magic of Jyrik's staff, the absurd reality-bending prank of the Wabbajack, and the I-can't-be-bothered delegation of the Sanguine Rose. They are encased in a suit of self-forged, custom-enchanted Daedric armour so powerful that they are, for all intents and purposes, immortal. They walk through Skyrim as a god, and the world is simply a series of minor solvable problems. But all their power is loud. It is overt. Volendrung sings as it shatters bone. Dawnbreaker explodes. The Wabbajack sings a cackling, chaotic tune. Even their armour, a masterpiece of demonic-looking plate, is a screaming visual announcement of their power. Their solutions are those of a soldier, a brawler, a mage. They have no subtlety. They have no tool for the quiet, insidious and personal. They have a hammer for every nail, but they have no scalpels for the heart. This changes when they reach level 20. They return to Whiterun, the city where their journey truly began. They are Thane here, a celebrated hero. They stride into Dragon's Reach, their black armour clanking on the stone floor. A stark, dark contrast to the warm, oaken hall of the noble Jarl Balgruf. But the hall is not as welcoming as it once was. The air is tense. The Jarl, a man the Dragonborn has always known to be pragmatic and strong, looks weary, troubled. He greets the Dragonborn not as a weapon, but as a trusted friend. "It's good to see you," he sighs. I have a personal matter. I wouldn't ask, but I'm at my wit's end. It's my children." He explains that his younger son Nelkir has changed. The boy, once playful, has become dark, sullen, cruel. He's saying terrible things to his siblings, to me. He's not my son, not anymore. Will you speak to him? He won't listen to me. This is a core in-game fact of this quest. It begins not with a battle, but with a concerned father. The Dragonborn, a being who has bartered with the literal god of madness, agrees to go talk to a moody teenager. It's a profound step down, or perhaps a profound step inward. They find Nelkir. He is not in the main hall. He is skulking in the shadows of the side rooms near the kitchens or the Jarl's quarters. He is a small, pale boy, and the moment he speaks, the Dragonborn knows something is deeply, deeply wrong. His voice is a sibilant, knowing whisper, laced with an adult's malice. "Another adventurer come to lick my father's boots," he hisses. He boasts that he knows all the secrets of Dragon's Reach. He knows about the Jarl's secret affair. He knows about the court wizard's dark experiments. The Dragonborn, their voice a hollow, synthesized echo from within their demonic helmet, asks him where he's hearing all this. Nelkir smiles, a cold, thin expression. "From the Whispering Lady," he says. "She's my real friend. She lives in the basement behind the locked door. She tells me everything. A Whispering Lady. A locked door. This is the language the Dragonborn understands." Following the boy's directions, they descend to the castle's service area, past the kitchens into the dusty, forgotten storage rooms. And there, at the end of a short dark hall, is the door. It's old, wooden and barred, but it's not the wood that matters, it's the sound. A faint, sibilant whispering is coming from the keyhole, a sound like dry leaves skittering over stone. The Dragonborn, using a key found from the Jarl or Farengar, or more likely picking the simple lock, opens it. The room is small, dark and utterly unremarkable. Just dust, cobwebs, and a single, plain wooden table. On the table rest two items, a long black elegant two-handed blade clearly of Akaviri design, and a tattered old book. The Dragonborn, as is their habit, inspects the book first. It is Admonition Against Complacency. It's a short, frantic warning, an old note from a previous court wizard, stating that the blade is a vile artifact, that it must never be moved, and that the Jarl must never be told of its true nature, lest his complacency be the ruin of his line. The Dragonborn turns to the blade. It is the Ebony Blade. It looks dormant, dead. They reach out their gauntleted hand. The moment their fingers touch the hilt, a new voice floods their mind. It is not the boom of Meridia, the growl of Malakath, or the cackle of Sheogorath. It is a soft, seductive, conspiratorial whisper. It is the voice of a spider, of a spurned lover, of a trusted vizier. It is female, and it is delighted. At last, she purrs. Someone with potential. You found me. And I, you. This is Mephala, the Daedric Prince of Secrets, lies, murder, and betrayal. She has been trapped in this room for ages, her power waning. The Jarls of Whiterun, she explains, were her jailers, their good-natured complacency, a magical ward that kept them from ever even thinking about this room. So she did what she does best. She whispered. She found the most vulnerable, impressionable mind in the castle, a child, Nelkir, and she poisoned him, turning him into her tool, her little spider, all to lure a real champion, a proper instrument to this door. She explains that the blade is weak. It's starved. It doesn't feed on soul gems or magicka or even just death. It feeds on a very specific, very potent vintage, the blood of betrayal, the blood of trust. To restore this blade to its former glory, Mephala whispers, her voice a caress. You must use it to murder those who love and trust you, slay your companions, your friends, your spouses. With every life you take, every bond you sever, I will grow stronger. We will grow stronger. The Dragonborn holds the blade. Its enchantment is simple. Absorbs health. But as they kill friends, not enemies but people with a high disposition, people who greet the Dragonborn with a smile and a warm word, the enchantment grows. From 10 points per hit, to 12, to 15, all the way to a staggering 30 points of health leached with every single swing, at no cost to the Dragonborn's own soul gems. It is potentially the most powerful life-stealing weapon in existence. But the cost. This is not the clean, impersonal violence of Dawnbreaker. This is not the honourable duel with Malakath's giant. This is sociopathy. This is the obscure lore tidbit of admonition against complacency made manifest. The blade's true power is not magic, it's psychology. It forces the Dragonborn to roleplay as a monster. This leads to the darkest community debate in all of Skyrim. Who do you kill? The forums and wikis are filled with grim, utilitarian lists of acceptable targets. Do you hire a mercenary from an inn, take them on one adventure and then stab them in the back while they're sleeping? Do you find a beggar you once gave a coin to, lead them to a dark alley and cut them down for the crime of trusting you? Do you complete a quest for a lonely old man, earn his friendship, and then murder him in his own home? The search for bad people who can be befriended first, like the dark elf in Windhelm who bullies the Argonians, becomes a grim metagame. The blade is a mirror. It doesn't just ask, how powerful do you want to be? It asks, what are you willing to do for it? The Dragonborn stands in the dusty room, the child's whispers forgotten. They hold a weapon that is not for a warrior or a hero. It is a weapon for a serial killer. It is the last perfect, insidious piece of their collection. They have a tool for every external threat, and now a tool for the internal one. A tool that feeds on the very concept of friendship. It is the ultimate weapon of subtle, personal, and devastating evil. The Dragonborn stands in the dusty, forgotten storage room of Dragon's Reach, the Ebony Blade a dark, silent weight in their hand. Mephala's whispers are a faint, seductive echo in their mind. The blade is a promise of power, but a power that is slow. It requires cultivation. It demands that the Dragonborn, this walking engine of destruction, must now become a social creature. They must make friends, earn trust, build relationships, all for the sole grim purpose of harvesting that trust in a dark alley. It is, for a hero who has mastered the industrial-scale creation of wealth and power, profoundly inefficient. It is a weapon of patient psychological evil. But the Dragonborn is, if nothing else, a collector of options. What if they want the result, the ultimate final act of ending a life, but without all the tedious, time-consuming emotional manipulation? What if they want a tool of impersonal, instantaneous evil? This need, this final gap in their collection, presents itself at the very same threshold, level 20. As they leave Dragon's Reach, a courier, the same indefatigable young man who seems to find them in the middle of a blizzard or at the bottom of a crypt, runs up panting. He delivers a pamphlet, a simple folded piece of paper advertising a new museum in Dawnstar, a museum of the mythic Dawn. The Dragonborn is by now well acquainted with Dawnstar. It is the town of bleak nightmares and, more importantly, the invisible infinite chest of arcane supplies. The idea of a museum in this miserable, frozen fishing village is the most absurd proposition they've heard all day, and they have just been communing with the Prince of Madness. Their curiosity and their innate sense of this is definitely a quest is piqued. They travel north. The museum is not a grand structure. It's just Silas Vesuvius's house. Silas is a man of boundless and frankly deeply unsettling enthusiasm. He is a fanboy. His house is a shrine to the mythic Dawn, the apocalyptic cult that, just an era ago, murdered the Emperor and nearly ended the world. Silas, however, sees them as misunderstood. He's a historian, a collector, and he is giddy to see the Dragonborn. "You're an adventurer," he chirps. "You're just the person I need." He explains his life's work. He has been collecting artifacts related to the mythic Dawn, and he is on the verge of his greatest acquisition, the scattered, broken pieces of Mehrunes' Razor. This is the core in-game fact of the quest, Pieces of the Past. The Razor, a legendary Daedric artifact, was shattered in the last war. Silas, through his family connections, he's a descendant of a mythic Dawn cultist, has located the 3 pieces. He just needs a capable individual to, go into some of the most dangerous high-level fortifications in Skyrim and retrieve them. He offers gold. The Dragonborn, who is literally wearing a suit of armour worth more than the entire city of Dawnstar, does not care about the gold. They care about the artifact. They agree. The quest for the pieces is, for this demigod-level Dragonborn, less of an adventure and more of a series of errands. The hilt is held by a quiet, unassuming citizen of Morthal. The Dragonborn, in their full demonic black Daedric armour, clanks into his house. "I'm here for the Daedric artifact hilt." The man, Jorgen, does not need persuasion. He needs a change of pants. He hands it over. The blade shards are in cracked Tusk Keep, a massive fortified fort teeming with bandits and orcs. The Dragonborn, sighing at the inconvenience, draws Volendrung. The fight is just a matter of physics. The perpetual motion warhammer crashes through the keep, a blur of infinite power attacks. The bandits are reduced to red paste before they can even draw their bows. The Dragonborn retrieves the shards from a vault, whistling. The pommel is the only real challenge. It's at Dead Crone Rock, a high, wind-swept, forsworn fortification, home to a coven of hagravens. The Dragonborn, now a master of delegation, doesn't even bother. They point the Sanguine Rose at the ground. "I honour my master's call!" a Dremora Kinval bellows, appearing in a flash of red. The Dremora charges in, greatsword raised, and proceeds to have a very loud, very angry argument with the forsworn Briarheart at the summit. While the 2 summoned entities are busy trying to kill each other, the Dragonborn just walks past them, takes the pommel from its pedestal, and fast travels away, leaving the Dremora to his fate. They return to Silas. He is overcome with joy, his hands trembling. He places the 3 broken pieces on a stand, and they are pathetic. It's a broken dagger, a hilt, a pommel, and a few bent rusted shards. "It's beautiful," Silas weeps. He explains that his ancestor Rulnik was there when the razor was shattered. This is his family's legacy, but as it's not enough. To truly honour the artifact, it must be reforged, and only one being can do that, Mehrunes Dagon himself. Silas has a plan. He will take the pieces to Dagon's shrine, and he will ask the Daedric Prince of Destruction to fix his toy. He just needs the Dragonborn to come along as backup. The shrine is high in the mountains, a cold, desolate place of stone and ice. Silas places the broken dagger on the altar. He raises his hands. "Lord Dagon, it is I, Silas, your faithful servant. I have brought you the pieces of your razor. I have come to honour you." The sky darkens, the air crackles. A voice, a sound like a mountain crumbling into the sea, a roar of pure nihilistic power, booms from the very clouds. "I am Mehrunes Dagon. I do not know you." Silas's face falls. This is not going as planned. "But I am your humble servant. I've dedicated my life." "You are a worm crawling in the dark," Dagon roars. He has no interest in a fanboy, a curator, a museum. He is the prince of revolution, of change, of destruction. He wants agents. "I see." "Another," Dagon's voice continues, his attention turning to the black-armoured, silent, artifact-laden Dragonborn. "One who acts, one who takes." Dagon makes his will known. Silas has failed. He is weak. The Dragonborn is to be the new champion. "Kill the mortal," Dagon commands, "and I will reforge the blade." Silas, in a single, shattering moment, sees his entire life's devotion revealed as a sham. His god is not a patron of the arts. He's a murderer, and he's just hired a new one. Silas panics. "No, wait. Dragonborn, don't listen to him. He's a Daedra. They lie. I have gold. A lot of gold. Just let me go. We can leave. You can have the gold." The Dragonborn looks at the cowering, weeping man. They look at the broken, pathetic dagger on the altar. They look at the black, stormy sky. This is not a moral dilemma. This is a transaction. They have the Ebony Blade, a weapon that requires the slow, intimate murder of friends. Dagon is offering them a weapon that only requires the fast, impersonal murder of a stranger. This is, if anything, a much cleaner deal. The Dragonborn draws their own blade. It is over in a second. The sky crackles. "At last!" Dagon's voice booms, satisfied. "My razor is restored. Let it taste blood." The broken pieces on the altar glow with a white-hot, hellish light. They lift, melt, and reform, the metal twisting like a living thing. When the light fades, the artifact is whole. It is a beautiful, intricate Daedric dagger, its edge humming with a faint red light. Mehrunes' Razor. Its enchantment is not a guarantee. It is a chance. A 1.98% chance, to be precise, to instantly kill anything. It is not a weapon of high damage. It is a statistical anomaly. It is a delete button for the universe. It is a lottery ticket, and the prize is murder. This is the obscure lore tidbit Silas was too blind to see. This was not just a museum piece. This is the dagger that, in the hands of the mythic Dawn, assassinated Emperor Uriel Septim VII, kicking off the Oblivion Crisis and nearly ending the world. Silas's historical society was just a cargo cult, unwittingly reassembling a weapon of mass destruction. This, of course, has led to a long-standing fan debate. What are its limits? The community has spent a decade testing that 1.98% chance. It works on giants, it works on mammoths, it works on Draugr Deathlords, but it doesn't work on dragons until they are on the ground. It doesn't work on Alduin, or Lord Harkon, or Miraak. The instant kill is, it seems, reserved for the non-essential. This leads to the theory that Dagon's power, for all its destructive glory, is still just a cheap shot. It can't delete a being whose soul is, quite literally, integral to the main quest. The Dragonborn picks up the razor. The collection is complete. They have the Ebony Blade, a tool of slow, patient personal betrayal, and now they have Mehrunes' Razor, a tool of fast, efficient, impersonal statistics. They have a weapon for every kind of violence, every kind of defense, and every kind of evil. They are no longer just a warrior or a mage or a hero. They are a master of all systems. They are a perfect, complete, and terrifying singularity of power. The journey, for now, is over. The Dragonborn stands on the cold, wind-blasted mountain, the newly forged razor a small, cold comfort in their gauntleted hand. The sky above is no longer the angry, swirling portal of a Daedric prince, but just a sky. Cold, grey and silent, the first soft flakes of snow beginning to drift down. The collection is complete. The arsenal of divine, arcane, and statistical power is all there, resting on their hips, on their back, and in their mind. There is nothing left to acquire, no new, reality-breaking power to chase. There is only the long, quiet walk back down the mountain. The thrum of the artifacts has become a familiar background hum, a quiet chorus of power that has become as normal as their own heartbeat. The demonic Daedric armor, once a terrifying symbol of ultimate might, now just feels comfortable. A heavy, familiar shell against the biting cold of the world. The battles are over. The choices, both moral and monstrous, have been made. The shouting voices of the Daedric princes, the sadist, the fanatic, the madman, the outcast, the schemer, and the revolutionary are finally quiet. They have their champion, they have their agent, and now they are content to wait. The Dragonborn looks out over the vast, snowy expanse. The lights of Dawnstar are just a faint, cold twinkle in the distance. There is no one to fight, no quest to fulfill. There is only the sound of the wind, the soft crunch of snow under a heavy enchanted boot, and the feeling of stillness. The world is at their feet, and it can wait until morning. The battles are all fought, the quests are all done, the Dragonborn is safe, and now so are you. The only thing left to do is rest.